allegedly indicate Andrew may have shared confidential government information with Epstein during his decade as a British trade envoy. It's the first time in nearly 4 centuries a senior British royal has been placed under arrest.
I thought he'd go into hiding and get away with it. Yeah, so no, that's all I've got to say, really. I'm pleased.
There's been a feeling that police forces could no longer not look at this very seriously, and I think it has been moving in one direction.
The lack of accountability that the privileged, the wealthy, royalty, aristocracy, that they have enjoyed in the past, I think we can see is really receding.
This is fascinating. Here again, the investigation separate from claims made against Andrew in relation to Epstein, in which Prince Andrew has always denied. King Charles responded to the arrest of his brother, writing in part, quote, "The law must take its course as this process continues. It would not be right for me to comment further on this matter," but everybody taking note of the differences between how the royals are treated today and how they would have been treated maybe 20, 30, 50 years ago when they would never get arrested.
Yeah. Well, and every day it seems like we hear of another person who is either resigning from their position, or being forced out of whatever position they currently hold. So we'll continue. Obviously, this just seems like the very beginning of this case as we continue to learn more, we continue to get more files, we continue to hear more about all of the accusations that have been made against so many people around the world. So a lot more to come on that one. Well, tonight, Orlando police are asking for your help to track down the people responsible for a home invasion. Now, detectives say they want to talk to these 3 people. Take a look. Investigators think they may have taken part in an armed home invasion and a robbery at a home on Cinderlane Parkway 2 weeks ago. Now, this is some pretty clear video of the 3 people they're looking for. If you have seen these guys or know who they are, you're asked to call Crime Line, that number, 1-800-423-TIPS. If you provide some information that can help investigators, you may be eligible for a reward of up to $1,000.
So let's take you to Port Orange next. Officers there actually were able to save a life this week. So let's take you to some of that video. Port Orange police posted this to social media. It's from an incident on Monday. Officers were called to a car that had crashed into a retention pond. See it looks like a red car right there in the middle of that pond. So they learned the elderly driver might have fallen asleep at the wheel. 3 officers and 2 Good Samaritans then worked to get that driver out. He said the locks on the car doors weren't working, so he was really struggling to get out of the car. But thanks to these brave officers and bystanders, he was able to get out just fine.
That is some good news. All right, right now, we do want to circle back to one of our top stories from yesterday, because this has a lot of people talking all over the state. We're talking about the State Attorney General, James Uffmeyer. Now, we told you yesterday, the Miami Herald reported that Uffmeyer has been teaching at University of Florida's law school on Monday nights since August. His salary from UF, $100,000. That is 8 times higher than the average law school adjunct professor earns, and the highest paid adjunct professor at the law school in at least a quarter century. Now, the Attorney General was asked about it during an unrelated press conference this morning. Here's his response.
It's funny, it's the left-wing fake news that seems to be the only people concerned with me working at night as a teacher. Like a lot of Americans at home, I work day and night. It seems like this is what the left news media wants to talk about. I'm focused on fighting crime and public corruption. All right, thanks, everybody.
Fake news, huh?
I don't think anybody is concerned with the fact that he has a job in his spare time.
And
many
a lot
politicians
of people,
do.
To his point, a lot of people do have side jobs. They don't always pay $100,000.
8 times more.
Yes.
Having an adjunct role in which you work 2 hours and make more than some professors do, that's a bit of a difference.
At a public university.
Yeah, it's true. All right, well, some good news along the coast. It looks like we're having fewer run-ins with our toothy friends, the sharks out on the coast. You know, we have the shark bite capital of the world here, and we're still living up to our name. University of Florida's International Shark Attack File says last year there were 11 shark bites in Florida. Now, that is way down from the 5-year annual average of 18 bites. Volusia County, often referred to as the shark bite capital of the world, accounted for more than half of the shark bites in the state. But that number, also lower than the 10-year average. Nationwide, there It was an 11% drop in shark bites compared to 2024. And while it's good that the bites are down, obviously we don't want people getting bitten by sharks. Experts say a big reason is the decrease in global shark populations. Still a small number compared to the amount of people who go and enjoy our beaches also.
Those sharks are in the surf zone going for bait fish. And, any kind of movement means that's potentially a meal. And when you stick a hand in the water and move it really quickly, it's very close to a mimic of a bait fish. And that shark has to get to that immediately. And so that's why you see a bite and then it suddenly realizes that is not a fish.
Yes, there are often bites and they're very rare when they are lethal or something like that.
So it's that time of year again. We're apparently preparing to spring forward. Change those clocks once again. But
maybe for the last time.
Doubt it. A Florida lawmaker is joining the effort to set the clocks once and for all. So here's the latest proposal. U.S. Representative William Stubbe, a Republican from Southwest Florida, filed the Daylight Act of 2026. Now, I love springing forward. I like it when it's lighter out later. But this act is a little different. It would fully repeal daylight saving time and amend the Calendar Act of 1918, which originally established the country's 5 time zones. So this proposal would shift time zones forward by 30 minutes ahead of the current time. Now you're getting complicated.
Okay, that's idiotic.
That is very complicated. It would also change existing hour offsets for the rest of the world, adding or subtracting a half hour. Way too complicated. The legislation is stuck in committee. Florida senators have proposed bills, but not many proposals have been brought up in the House yet. So, I don't know. This is always so controversial.
Let's just shift it by like 37 minutes.
That's what I was saying. How about
what are we doing
67
here?
minutes?
Fewer math problems, the better for us. Either do it an hour or just leave it alone. That seems crazy. So daylight saving time, that is our poll of the day. You can see the QR code right there at the bottom left of your screen. Weigh in. We'd love to hear what you think. Here's the question. Do you want year-round daylight saving time, standard time, or keep on changing the clock? Some people get oddly passionate about this. Daylight saving is what they like. 68% is what they're hoping
Always
for.
Controversial.
All right, after the break, we're heading back to the launch pad, and that is where crews are testing out the rocket that are going to send up the next batch of astronauts.
Plus, a number of you are talking about a controversial way to cut down on vaping in schools. We'll have that for you coming up.
It's a critical countdown for NASA's plans to return to the moon. I'm News 6's Mark Lehman, and on Thursday, the Artemis 2 rocket is going through a wet dress rehearsal. You can see the rocket on the pad here across the Indian River. Now, this is happening a couple weeks after a first run through where there was hydrogen leaking during the fueling process. There's a problem NASA needs to overcome today if they want to push forward with the launch in a couple weeks.
It's take two for a critical run-through. NASA is counting down in the second wet dress rehearsal of Artemis 2, and the focus is on preventing leaks in the fueling process.
They want to build confidence that they can actually launch the astronauts when they put them in their seats.
Ken Kramer is with SpaceUpClose.com and shared these images of the 322-foot rocket. He says it's critically important hydrogen doesn't leak past a 16% threshold, which is what halted Artemis 2's first test earlier this month.
They have to be done to prove that the rocket's not leaking. That's the whole problem, because hydrogen is extremely flammable.
Hydrogen is also a difficult substance to deal with.
It's the number one element on the periodic table. It leaks through seals and gaskets very easily. And they're really having to wrestle with that. It's a tough problem.
CBS space consultant Bill Harwood tells us it's an issue NASA has been dealing with for decades and even pushed Artemis 1 to 7 wet dress rehearsals. Much more is on the line for this rocket, however, as 4 astronauts will be on board for the eventual launch on a trip around the moon.
They've replaced those seals, and I think they're hopeful that they're going to get through this test the second time around, clear the way for launch.
If today's test remains on track, fueling of the rocket should happen over the course of several hours today. All of this is counting down towards a 4-hour launch simulation window that opens at 8:30 tonight. And if everything goes as planned, Artemis 2 could launch as early as March 6th. In Brevard County, Mark Lehman, News 6.
Rocket science is hard.
Yes.
You
that's why
would
they say
think
that.
after all of these years, though, that they would have some type of permanent fix for these valves, because it does seem like an issue that constantly pops up when we're talking about
Valves and
this.
hydrogen leaks and
Yeah.
all these things. It's a problem.
Well, our social media guru, DJ, has been sleuthing our social media pages once again to tell us what you're talking about.
Yeah, and a lot of you continue to talk about what schools are doing to try to stop kids from vaping in the bathroom.
All right, vaping in school. Here's the story on the News 6 Facebook page people have been talking about. It links to this story on clickorlando.com that says restrooms will be shut down at this Central Florida high school over vaping. Now, our Troy Campbell went to Melbourne High School this week, where the school principal says this has been an ongoing issue on campus. And when we posted this, many of you were quick in the comments. Karen says bathrooms in classrooms will take care of this. I've worked at schools that have this, so I know it's possible. And Cassie has an idea. She says, I'd order porta potties and stick them in the middle of the courtyard. You can go, but you aren't going to want to stay in there for long. But then we saw a lot of you say this is a bigger issue. This is happening at schools everywhere. So I took your comments to Troy, and he's now reaching out to all the districts to see if vaping really is an issue everywhere. And if it is, what are these districts doing about it? So make sure you're following us on Facebook. Once we hear back from these schools, we will keep you posted there. And in the meantime, what do you think is the solution to a vaping problem on school campuses?
All right. Well, coming up after the break, federal regulators are switching gears and are looking into a potential new flu shot.
We're going to talk about that, plus a chain based in Orlando, a restaurant chain, shutting down some more locations. We'll talk about that coming up in a little bit.
I'm News 6 anchor Louis Bolden. More bad news for Red Lobster lovers and a big change involving Moderna's newest vaccine. Let's get over to Maribel Aber in today's Money Matters. Maribel, that change has to do with a crucial review process.
It sure does, Louis. The USDA announced it will now review Moderna's newest mRNA vaccine application. The reversal comes about 2 weeks after the government initially rejected the drug maker's request. The agency initially said Moderna's medical trials didn't meet current U.S. healthcare standards. Now, Moderna claimed they were never advised of any safety or effectiveness concerns during testing. Both sides recently met, and Moderna confirmed yesterday that a revised regulatory plan was agreed upon. Louis.
Okay, and even more Red Lobsters could soon be closing?
You know, Louis, a Red Lobster CEO says more restaurants may need to close to get the chain out of bankruptcy. He told the Wall Street Journal that he, quote, inherited a very damaged brand when he assumed his role in 2024. Significant debt, management turnover, and falling sales were all blamed for the decline. Some past promotions, like, remember this one, 2023's Endless Shrimp, also cost the company big. It had to shell out $11 million to cover its promise to customers during that all-you-can-eat deal. Around 130 Red Lobster shut down immediately after the bankruptcy was filed less than 2 years ago. The company is reviewing its remaining roster to see which locations can either be improved or close. That's a lot of shrimp. Louis.
That is a lot of shrimp. Maribel, thank you so much. Remember, you can always find the latest money and consumer news anytime by heading to clickorlando.com.
I guess even Endless Shrimp had to end sometime, huh?
Yes, now is the end after they shelled out too much money. All right, we have something that's really cool that we want to share with you right now. Football season in Orlando is about to get underway. We're talking about soccer, of course. And get this, News 6 is your official local station for the Orlando City Soccer Club and the Orlando Pride. So what does that mean? This exclusive local partnership gives News 6 viewers access to full match replays and exclusive team programming on News 6, as well as team stories and coverage on clickorlando.com and special shows highlighting players, fans, and more. Their season opener is this Saturday. Should be great. The weather's looking great for that. You know, my boys are big Orlando City fans.
You even have the colors on today.
That's right.
This
We're
is
not going to be,
perfect.
unfortunately, we're not going to be there this week, but we're hoping to see Messi in a couple of weeks. We'll see.
Good luck getting a ticket for that.
He's been a little fearful to show up here
Yeah,
in
he
City
usually
Beautiful.
calls in sick
Yes.
before he comes here. We're very excited about that partnership. It's going to have great things to come. Well, still to come, days have passed in an urgent search to find some skiers out west. Now some new questions are out there about why they were on that mountain in the first place.
Yeah, we're going to have that for you coming up. Also ahead of 4 people in Winter Garden are worried about their small town feel going away. But how much can local officials really do?
The latest Artemis 2 dress rehearsal will wrap up overnight.
Coming up in the morning, the latest test for NASA and what it could mean for the next crewed mission to the moon.
Plus, big weather changes. Candace will have an update on the latest cold front.
Join us for News 6 Morning starting at 6.
right, welcome back to News 6 at 3. Picture this. You unfortunately lose your family pet, and you try to bring in another pet to fill the void that's left behind. But just a short while later, that pet dies as well.
And that is the unfortunate reality for a Central Florida woman. Our investigator, Erica Bergoglio, spoke with her. So first off, Erica, tell us what happened here.
She, as you said, she went to go look for a dog, went online, found this site, Florida Goldens, started texting with a man that she said was named Sheldon, goes to this Winter Park home, gets the dog. 4 days later, dog dies.
It's a puppy.
It's a puppy.
Yes, and you know, she thought she was doing her research because she just didn't look online and find this person. This person offered her some type of certification that the dog was healthy and was basically had a long lineage.
Yes.
Yeah.
So she received 2 forms. The first one is a veterinary health certificate, which under Florida law, you are required to provide if you are selling a cat or dog in the state. So she received a veterinary health certificate, and then later that day, she was emailed this form, which is supposedly a pedigree from the American Kennel Club. Turns out both of these may be fraudulent.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. The American Kennel Club tells me this form is fake. That's not their logo. That's not their signature on it.
At first glance, this looks real,
Yes.
though. If you've ever seen one of these forms before, it kind of looks real.
Yeah. So that fake. I called the vet on this form, who is a horse doctor, and he tells me that his signature on this was forged.
Wow. That is great.
This
So-
is not his form. He never approved this puppy.
So what can you do if they're forging documents allegedly? How can you protect yourself as a pet owner?
So when I spoke with the American Kennel Club, they have a marketplace specifically for breeders that they say are reputable. So you go there and they do about 3,000 inspections every year, but also just doing your own research. If the price is too good to be true, it probably is. You're not going to get a dog for $500, $800. If it's a purebred, it's going to be in the thousands.
Okay.
Also, if they have pictures on the website, ask for videos, ask for more pictures that aren't staged, because those pictures could be fake as well. And then also, if you do go to a breeder and they claim that they're with the American Kennel Club, they do not provide you a pedigree. They give you paperwork and you apply to get the pedigree.
Okay, so
You
that should
have
be
to
your
pay
red
for that.
flag.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's several red flags to look out for.
Okay.
Yeah, and you would think too, if you're purchasing a dog, I mean, can you take it to a vet beforehand and have it checked out before you actually buy it? I don't know if that's even allowed.
They are supposed to prove that this dog has the shots.
It's healthy.
It's healthy, as this form says. So she thought dog had all the shots. It says healthy puppy.
And then
Wasn't the
basically she
case.
was traumatized twice. She lost her dog that had been alive for many years and then went through this horrible situation.
And real quick, since this story was posted on clickorlando.com, I've been hearing from multiple people saying the same thing happened to them with this particular
website.
Florida
Okay.
Goldens.
Okay,
so
good to know.
we're going to stay on this, and if you have any questions, please reach out to us.
All right, Erica Bergoglio, thank you so much for that, man. Well, the searches are continuing in California for a group of skiers who were hit by an avalanche. Turns out 8 of them have been found dead, and there's a 9th still out there somewhere.
Just an awful story. As CBS's Matt Gutman reports, there are now questions about why the group continued with this ski trip after heavy snow warnings.
Someone saw the avalanche, yelled avalanche, and then it overtook them rather quickly.
A grim discovery led to the deadliest avalanche in California history.
8 of the 9 additional skiers have been located deceased. We are still looking for one of the members at this time.
Nevada County Sheriff Shannon Mood said Wednesday a football field-sized slab of snow slid off a mountain in the Castle Peak area about 10 miles north of Lake Tahoe Tuesday, swallowing a group of backcountry skiers.
Medical for an avalanche in the area of Castle Peak.
The group of 11 skiers and 4 guides was returning from a 3-day backcountry ski trip during a monster storm that dumped up to 7 feet of snow and lashed the mountains with 60-mile-per-hour winds.
It's been a challenging rescue, but it's also been challenging emotionally for our team.
Officials say one of the 9 victims was married to one of the rescuers. The other 6 members of the group were found alive after reportedly seeking refuge in huts.
They suffered some sort of injuries during the avalanche itself.
And now questions are being raised about why the group stayed up there more than 2 days after the first avalanche watch was issued, indicating large avalanches were likely in as little as 24 hours.
You know, those are the decisions that the guide company clearly had made. We're still in conversation with them on the decision factors.
In this social media video posted on Sunday by Blackbird Mountain Guides, the company that organized the trek, a guide warns that a weak layer in the snowpack could trigger unpredictable avalanches.
What's the best way to survive an avalanche?
Not put yourself in a position where you could get caught in an avalanche. Heeding the warnings, paying attention to the forecasting, sharing your travel routes, traveling in pairs, avoiding avalanche-prone areas.
And overnight, Blackbird Mountain Guides, that outfitter, said that 4 of those instructors on that mountain were actually avalanche instructors, and they had been in contact with the company about conditions and routes. As for the victims, all 9 of them remain on that mountain. But at this point, officials here say that they are not willing to risk the safety of rescuers to send them in these kinds of conditions. But the weather is expected to clear tomorrow. Matt Gutman, CBS News, Soda Springs, California.
Terrifying that they can't even send in reinforcements right now because it's that dangerous.
That would just be tragic for another accident to happen after already losing so many lives.
You can't blame them. Well, we're finally getting some answers on a pretty smelly situation. This is in western Orange County. Let's get you back local here. We got a tip to check out Newton Park in Winter Garden. That's where a number of dead fish along that part of Lake Apopka have popped up. FWC got back to us this morning confirming the fish kill and that the dead fish were all tilapia. Those are considered invasive in Florida.
As we walked towards the dock, the pier here, we saw dead fish. And then as we walked along the edge here, where a lot of the birds nest, we saw so many of the fish had washed in and got caught up against the vegetation. They just died here. And none of the animals that we can observe are feeding on them. And there are ospreys here, there's eagles here, there's alligators here. And apparently they don't want to eat these dead fish, so who knows?
It is concerning when anytime you see a fish killed.
You do hate to see it.
Yeah.
FWC says the kill is due to their recent cold weather conditions. They also say it's not a one-off. This month alone, the state has gotten more than 450 reports of fish kills that investigators believe are because of the cold temperatures. Now, keep in mind, anytime you see a fish kill in Lake Apopka, neighbors there get a little freaked out. It was once one of the most polluted lakes in the entire country.
Worked so hard to restore that lake, but the tilapia, an invasive species, they can't survive in the cold waters. So that's why anytime the temperature gets that cold, they do tend to see fish kills involving tilapia. So interesting. Yeah. All right, a woman is in hot water accused of leaving her 2 children with a stranger while she decided to apparently go out and go drinking. So take a look at this story.
You've been here for how long?
More than 2 hours.
So Sunrise police officers got a call from an Uber driver just before 11 on Friday night. Now, the driver said a woman left her 2 kids, who happened to be 3 and 4 years old, in his car. He says she told him she'd be back in just 3 minutes, but she disappeared for 2 hours and stopped answering her phone. Officers eventually tracked her down at a McDonald's more than 2 miles away, and she could not explain how she got there.
Sit down.
Okay, but why aren't you doing that?
Because you just left your kids with an Uber and we're all over town looking for you.
Because I don't have my actual phone. I don't have my car. I'm not in control of my situation.
You deserted your kids for 2 hours. That's what's going on. That Uber driver's been sitting with your kids waiting for you to come back for the past 2 hours.
You know what? That sounds like, honestly, like what probably happened. Because I don't have my phone. I just fixed my phone.
Why did you get out of the Uber?
Now, it's kind of hard to hear her there, but again, those kids just 3 and 4 years old. She was arrested on charges of child neglect and abandonment and later posted bond. I mean, most Uber drivers are very nice, you know, law-abiding citizens.
I can't think of a stranger one that I would trust watching my kids even for 3 minutes. That's crazy.
Especially at that age, 3 and 4. So.
I'm shocked that he was like, okay, I'll watch him for 3 minutes, and then 2 hours later he calls the cops.
Police, yeah.
Well, a paramedic jumps into action for a neighbor who was covered in blood after dealing with a home invasion situation. This is kind of a crazy story. Neighbors say somebody broke into a home in West Palm. The 73-year-old man came to the home to find the suspect was in his house, and that's when the guy took off. Neighbors jumped in to help.
All of a sudden, the gentleman across the street started screaming, yelling, come running out that he was getting robbed, and he was covered in blood. The robber just took off down the block, and we chased after him. Chased him down the driveway, and he went to hop a fence, and he dropped the bag, and just recovered the bag.
From there, the neighbor, who says he was a paramedic for 38 years, took care of the victim. As for the suspect, he was arrested just a few blocks away, being charged now with home invasion and aggravated battery. Here's a look at him. He's not the only one who got in trouble. The neighbor said his wife wasn't very pleased with the risky situation that he put himself in. So he's just going to have to deal with that, being a hero, and the wife's a little mad at him at the end of the day. Gotta cut him a break, wife.
Right, there you go. All right, well, coming up after the break, we're going to be getting a look at your forecast. There are a lot of changes in store for us.
Plus, how some lowering mortgage rates are impacting Florida's housing economy. We'll be right back.
Your Thursday evening traffic alert, you're going to watch out for that new lane shift out here along I-4 World Drive. Make sure you're just paying attention. Lanes will be open, but things are much different out here. Whether you're going east or westbound, you need to make sure you're paying attention. Also, up along 528 Goldenrod area, we'll see those lane closures there. Same thing along I-4 between the Turnpike and State Road 528, and then those slowdowns along the southern portions of the Florida Turnpike down in Osceola County. I'm Trooper Steve with your News 6 Traffic Alert. Drive safely. I'll catch you in the morning.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Bill Ray Nissan Longwood. We do it the right way.
Welcome back. Let's take a look at that Daytona Beach cam. I mean, it looks ideal out there. It is gorgeous. And as we get closer to this weekend, we're going to get in the neighborhood of the 90s. Is that still the case? Julie Broughton.
Yes, we will be closing in on 90 really even tomorrow and then Saturday. So record territory for the next couple of days. But that won't stick around. Then we're talking about some 30s as we head into next week. So kind of, you know, something for everyone.
I'm glad we have you to predict the future for us here. I would have no idea.
Yeah, it's not always an easy job. Let's go ahead and take a look outside. This is our Light Orlando Delivering Hope Together camera. Some fluffy white clouds out there looking so nice. 83 degrees right now, and you'll notice the wind out of the west-southwest, so that is a warm flow helping to kick our temperatures up. Here's a look at Saturday. So we're expecting a high of 88. The record is 88, so we would tie a record. And you can see just all of those areas. We're talking about near or tying records. So if you like it on the warm side, this is your weekend for Saturday. Yes, if you want to go to the beach, keep in mind we are looking at an elevated threat of rip current, so make sure you stay near a lifeguard or just kind of dip your toes in gently. This is what we can expect on Saturday. If you're up in Ocala, 85, low 80s along the coast. So really, I do think it will be a nice feeling beach day out there if you're into that. And I mean, who isn't really?
The water's still going to be chilly, though. Right?
Yeah. So just kind of, I like to put my chair right at the edge.
Put the toes in.
And yes, I just think that that's like the perfect mix. Okay, this is what will be headed toward you after your beach day. This is our clouds and rain forecast. Of course, Saturday night is the Orlando City home opener. You'll be in the mid-70s around 7:30 as that match starts. Then as we take you into the overnight hours, notice that front moving in. So by 6 o'clock from our northern counties, from Flagler County back through Marion County, you'll be looking at some rain. That moves into the Orlando metro area and toward the attractions by around 9 o'clock, clearing our southern counties by around lunchtime. Then notice that northerly wind behind that. So that means when we wake up Monday morning, upper 30s in Ocala, 45 in Orlando. Typically, the second night after a cold front is the coldest. So we're talking about even temperatures near or below freezing for folks in our northern counties. That won't last long, though. So not like the last one where we were stuck with it for a while. We'll be back close to 80 by this time next week.
It's 3 days. No big deal.
We can
really
take
two.
it. Yeah, we can take it. And if you want to keep up with all the changes, which of course you do, you can download our free weather app. Just search WKMG in your app store.
Well, mortgage rates, they are back in the 5% range for the first time since maybe 2023. The big question is it actually a good time to buy right now? Tiffany Salome updates us.
Hey, so if you're selling or buying a home this year, there's some good news you should know about. Mortgage rates are down in the 5s for the first time since 2023. So we're going to talk about what that means for affordability.
This is a big deal. So towards the end of the year, we got in the low 6%, but never in the true 5s. So this is a big deal. It can save homeowners, hundreds of dollars. And we're seeing a huge increase in applications recently, too.
Yeah, tell me about that. So more people are trying to buy homes right now?
So right now in January, just our office and other mortgage professionals around town said January was the most insane for applications. We are up 60% year over year to where we were for applications. So people are realizing more and more savings.
Here's another thing you should know. If you're in the market right now, NEFAR's Home Affordability Index is at a 92. And that's the first time we've been in the 90s since April of 2022. So what exactly does that mean? The Home Affordability Index measures whether a median income family can afford a median priced home here in Jacksonville. And 100 is the exact income you'll need.
I think a lot of people are realizing that rates aren't going back down to 3-4%, right? So they're looking at it going, okay, maybe now's the time, because when there's an influx of applications, home prices eventually are going to start going back up. So inventory is going to deplete.
Do you think this will continue in the future? Rates getting lower and lower?
I'm going to do a crystal ball.
Okay.
So I don't have the crystal ball, but
Yep.
I'm going to give it anyway. So I think this will be the year that we start to decrease. So we start to decrease, and some of the reports have us in the low 5s, but if we can get down a little bit, I think that it is going to continue to drive activity.
I'm always hesitant to hear people's prognostications
Speculate,
because
yeah.
usually they don't turn out to be accurate.
knows?
We'll see if he's right or not. The National Association of Realtors, they do project that those rates will stay in the low 6% range, and they hope that that might unlock some house buying this year.
It's amazing what 1% difference can have on your monthly mortgage payment.
It's a lot of money.
It is, yeah. All right, we want to take a live look now at the Space Coast as crews continue to test that right there, the massive SLS rocket that will eventually carry the Artemis 2 mission around the moon.
But officials in Brevard County are talking about another massive rocket set to lift off from the Space Coast soon. News 6's Mike Valenti joins us now from Cape Canaveral. So, Mike, what's going on out there? These things are loud, as people know.
Yeah, that's putting it mildly, Matt. We're talking about sonic booms today, rattling homes with these launches along the Space Coast. You alluded to it before. SpaceX, Starship could launch in a matter of months. We don't have a firm timeline yet, but this has got the attention of city council members in Cape Canaveral, understandably. They're asking what damage could these vibrations potentially cause. This week, the council discussed exploring grant funding it may need for infrastructure resiliency projects to help cover the cost if people's homes are damaged by the intensity of these launches. The FAA issued a report last month acknowledging that the noise levels from the Starship launch could interfere with people's daily activities, even breaking windows in places like Cape Canaveral, Titusville, and Cocoa, although I do want to note those odds are listed as very small. Here's the Cape Canaveral city manager from Tuesday night's meeting.
We need more data as well. I think we suspect that we're going to sustain, potential vibration damages. And what does that look like for us? And will there be other sources of revenue available in the event that that happens?
So no final decisions have been made, but you heard there from Tuesday's regularly scheduled meeting from Cape Canaveral City Council. This is something they're keeping an eye on, and I'm sure we'll hear about it again in future meetings.
All right, very interesting for the folks who live out there. Thank you very much, Mike Valenti. So we put together something to compare just how loud these rockets are. For an idea here, the FAA says if you're standing near the launch pad, that's 150 decibels, but you probably won't be standing near the launch pad. It's 90 decibels if you're standing from a safe distance away.
Okay.
A loud rock concert, that's 110 decibels. A blender is 88. Unless you have one of those real quiet ones.
Okay.
Experts say 91 decibels can damage your hearing if you're exposed to that for more than 2 hours.
But you're only going to hear it for a few seconds, right? And then then it's over. It's not like a rock concert that's 2 hours
It's
or
more,
longer.
I find it more of a rattle. You can feel the whole house shake sometimes.
So like a lot of bass going on.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. So still to come, the new resource officials are breaking ground on to make sure people get the important documents they need. We'll have that for you coming up after the break.
While it may be a construction site now, soon this building will be filled with people getting help with identification services. I'm Stephanie Rodriguez reporting in Orlando. IDignity helps people through the identification process who can't do it alone, and their expansion comes at a time when IDs are becoming even more important.
They've done so much with the little resources they have for years and years and years.
Congressman Maxwell Frost secured $750,000 for IDignity's new Orlando headquarters. The nonprofit helps people obtain important documents like Social Security cards and birth certificates for free so they can get an ID.
You can't really do anything without having government certified identification today. You can't get a job, and if you can't get a job, then you can't support yourself, then you can't support your family.
Orange County committed over $2 million to the construction to give IDignity a home after 18 years and 36,000 people served. But demand is expected to increase as the feds consider changes to voting, and state leaders in Tallahassee are advancing several bills to change what ID can be used for elections, putting more emphasis on things like passports.
It makes it so not even your driver's license will be able to be used to be able to register to vote. We shouldn't be making it harder to vote. We should actually be making it easier for Americans to cast their ballot and participate in this democracy.
For those at the center, its mission is even more important in a state where 1 in 5 residents was born outside the U.S. and more than 750,000 residents do not have a driver's license.
We need to maintain the integrity of identification at all costs. But there does need to be an organization like IDignity that will assist those individuals in our community that cannot get over those barriers on their own. That's why we exist.
In Orlando, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
We are getting ready for News 6 at 4, and you may recall every Thursday we get the new drought monitor out, so we have new drought numbers for Central Florida. Not looking good, and we are going to be nearing record heat for the next couple of days. Meteorologist Jonathan Kagis breaks down all of that.
We have a lot of crazy changes in our forecast over the next couple of days. Also, our Tylisa Hampton is going back out to Winter Garden. Earlier this week, she brought us concerns from some business owners who are having to leave the community that they love because of some situation and issues going on there. She's going to have an update for us. Also, it's a story we've been following for some time, some school closures in Orange County. Our Jarrell Baker is speaking with parents. We'll have that for you coming up. News 6 at 4 starts right now.
Streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live. You're watching News 6 at 4.
Well, several small businesses are closing in Winter Garden. Coming up, I spoke with those owners and people who live in this community as they say they want their voices to be heard.
Warm day today. It's going to get even warmer over the next few days before a gigantic drop in the temperatures. We're going to have your full forecast in a few minutes.
And we're hearing from the people who called 911 once they say they saw a man pull out a gun and try to fire it inside a packed gym.
But first, at 4, we start with breaking news. Investigators say they are at a Marion County home looking into how a girl died.
They say they were called to the home on Northeast 44th Avenue in Citra earlier today. They found the girl unresponsive. They took her to the hospital where she died. Marion County deputies say they learned a man harmed the girl. They took him into custody for questioning. They're calling the girl's death a homicide. We are closely following this story, and we have a crew on the way to that scene right now.
Now to concerns, anger, and questions mounting about the changes coming to a downtown known for its small town charm. On Tuesday, we told you about the wave of business closures in Winter Garden. Now your West Orange County community correspondent Tylisa Hampton is talking with people who are demanding the city take action.
That's exactly right, Lisa. Right now, there is a call for action. That coming from people in Winter Garden who say they actually come to the downtown area for these small businesses, having no idea one by one so many will be closing their doors.
How angry does it make you that all this is happening?
I am so upset. I love this area. I think these businesses are incredible.
I'm of the thinking of if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Anger is growing over the uncertainty and change in downtown Winter Garden.
And I chose to come to downtown Winter Garden because the city had this vision of small businesses.
In the past year, at least 9 buildings have sold to different buyers. And multiple small businesses like this one and the one next door, Three Birds Cafe, announced that it would have to close after their leases were not renewed. So we spoke to the cafe's owner on Tuesday. She says after our report, it actually sparked a widespread community response.
So the report you think has helped?
The report, yeah, for sure. Just because it raises awareness too. It raises awareness, and honestly, it also just brings up the concern for our small town.
The cafe will close next week, and next door, the owner, Polka Dots, is also preparing to close at the end of June.
You know, I built my business for 19 years here, and just to be devastated.
An event is planned for Friday in support of the small businesses, with people also planning to go to the next city commission meeting.
I mean, the community reaction is completely valid. Winter Garden is such a special area, and it's built off of families and built off of small businesses.
And, you know, people are just really upset, you know. This is ours, our little comfort zone in the world.
We are not available now.
We have reached out to one of the new property owners again, but they have not disclosed their plans, as many wonder what will happen.
It's really sad, you know, to see smaller business owners just have to let go of the things that they worked so hard to build.
And we also reached back out to the city for those people concerned about the possible businesses to be brought in after these businesses close up. Now, the city, they sent us the same statement that they released Tuesday, which did note that the city cannot intervene between private real estate transactions. Reporting in Winter Garden, I'm your community correspondent, Tylisa Hampton.
Tylisa, thank you. Turning to your weather now, let's take a live look outside over Daytona Beach. We're talking about a transition from flip-flops to some frost.
Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas joins us now with the big changes on the way, Jonathan.
Yeah, by Tuesday morning, guys, we're waking up in the 30s. By tomorrow and into Friday, into Saturday, we're talking upper 80s, potentially pushing 90 degrees. We're in record territory both tomorrow and Saturday. These are your high temperature forecasts. Again, getting into tomorrow, everybody in the upper 80s, just a couple of degrees shy of tying or breaking new records tomorrow. That warmth continues to surge for the first part of the weekend with little to no rain expected either. Latest drought monitor, we get one of these every Thursday, and even with 1 to 2 inches of widespread rain yesterday, the drought situation actually intensified across central Florida. You see this red shaded area, that is the extreme drought level 3 out of 4 in terms of the drought status from the USDA, and it has sunk further into all Marion County, parts of northern Lake now into northern Volusia. The only spot in the state that's not officially in a drought is that little area for us in about Mims and Titusville, but we are still abnormally dry. We're going to talk much more about this and the big drop in temperatures, guys, coming up at about 4:17.
Jonathan, thank you. Tonight, we're hearing from one of the people who was inside the gym where police say a man pulled out a gun and tried to fire it.
This happened at the Crunch Fitness off 434 in Altamonte Springs. Your Seminole County community correspondent Catherine Silver is in Altamont outside the gym. And Catherine, you just got the 911 call.
That's right. We're literally talking within the last few minutes. We got a hold of this 911 call. It is short, but it shows how one man did not just see what happened. He also followed the suspect from a safe distance down 434 so we could try to tell police where he went after that initial confrontation. For a lot of you, we know this story got your attention. It certainly got our attention too. And just like you, we have a lot of questions about what happened. It is an Altamonte Springs police investigation, but we are also asking Crunch's corporate office about their protocols and their policies moving forward. The sign on the door is clear. No firearms are allowed inside this Crunch Fitness. But police say on Tuesday, Winston Medley brought a gun.
Guy with a gun.
There's a guy with a gun inside?
I'm going to try to catch up with him.
Okay.
He's running down 434 now.
You're hearing the call to 911 after police say witnesses told them Medley confronted a group of guys exercising. He allegedly told them they're weak and should lift more. Later, Medley is accused of coming up to one of them and pointing a gun directly in his face.
Never had any situations like that happen before. That's pretty surprising, honestly.
Our News 6 team spoke with gym members about the unexpected event that unfolded during the morning workout. The arrest report says the only reason why the gun didn't go off was because a witness said it looked like it jammed. The report also says what Medley told police about what happened. He said he, quote, does not play with firearms, and the object in his hand seen on the gym's security cameras was a king-size Snickers bar.
Winston Medley. Yes, sir.
Medley was denied bond at a hearing Wednesday. He is facing 4 charges. 2 of them are capital felonies.
There's an allegation of attempted murder.
We're also learning that Medley is a 4-time convicted felon in North Carolina who never should have had a weapon. Investigators believe that the attempted murder was premeditated because the security cameras here at the gym apparently caught him going to his car after that initial confrontation, and then about 10 minutes later going back inside this gym and pulling out the gun. I'm live in Seminole County. Catherine Silver, News 6.
Catherine, thank you. Just minutes ago, NASA's new administrator slammed Boeing and NASA for stranding astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams in space. Now, this comes just an hour after NASA revealed the results of its months-long investigation into the latest failed Starliner capsule test flight to the space station. Boeing makes the Starliner capsule. Now, you may remember this was the mission in 2024 that left the two astronauts in space for more than 3 months without a ride home after they almost did not make it to the space station. They were only supposed to be in space for about 2 weeks. NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman posted this letter on X within the past hour. He says he sent it to the NASA workforce and criticizes NASA's decision-making and leadership that, quote, if left unchecked, could create a culture incompatible with human spaceflight. Federal investigators also blamed NASA and Boeing, noting bad data and incomplete data from the first 2 Starliner test flights, and blamed NASA for accepting that data.
I do think that failure to acknowledge this as it was, which is a Type A mishap, and ensure that we are transparent and correct, management leadership missteps that could lead to an unhealthy culture is absolutely warranted. Failing to do so invites repeats of previous catastrophic events, which again is never an acceptable outcome here at NASA.
The NASA investigative report gives 61 formal recommendations, and all of them must be implemented before the Starliner can fly again to the space station. Administrator Isaacman agreed. We have put the full 311-page report on clicorlando.com.
In just a few hours, there will be another critical test for NASA's Artemis 2 mission. This is a live look at the launch pad right now. Once again, crews will fill the massive SLS rocket with more than 700,000 gallons of fuel and then do a practice launch countdown. It has to be a success before astronauts are launched to the moon and back. As News 6's Mark Lehman shows us, there is one key problem to resolve.
This dress rehearsal is happening a couple weeks after the first run-through for Artemis 2. You can see the rocket on the pad here behind me. The problem with the first run-through was liquid hydrogen leaking during the fueling process. It's something NASA needs to overcome today if they want to push forward with the launch in a couple weeks.
It's take 2 for a critical run-through. NASA is counting down in the second wet dress rehearsal of Artemis 2, and the focus is on preventing leaks in the fueling process.
They want to build confidence that they can actually launch the astronauts when they put them in their seats.
Ken Kramer is with SpaceUpClose.com and shared these images of the 322-foot rocket. He says it's critically important hydrogen doesn't leak past a 16% threshold, which is what halted Artemis 2's first test earlier this month.
They have to be done to prove that the rocket's not leaking. That's the whole problem, because hydrogen is extremely flammable.
Hydrogen is also a difficult substance to deal with.
It's the #1 element on the periodic table. It leaks through seals and gaskets very easily. And they're really having to wrestle with that. It's a tough problem.
CBS space consultant Bill Harwood tells us it's an issue NASA has been dealing with for decades and even pushed Artemis 1 to 7 wet dress rehearsals. Much more is on the line for this rocket, however, as 4 astronauts will be on board for the eventual launch on a trip around the moon.
They've replaced those seals, and I think they're hopeful that they're going to get through this test the second time around, clear the way for launch.
If today's test remains on track, fueling of the rocket should happen over the course of several hours today. All of this is counting down towards a 4-hour launch simulation window that opens at 8:30 tonight. And if everything goes as planned, Artemis 2 could launch as early as March 6th. In Brevard County, Mark Lehman, News 6.
Now to a threat at a local hospital. Police in Kissimmee were called out to HCA Florida Osceola Hospital earlier today. That's on West Oak Street. They say they were responding to a potential bomb threat. After an investigation, they said they didn't find anything. The facility is now cleared and everything is back to normal operations.
Meantime, we're working to get an update on a local university getting a second school threat in just a matter of days. The threats are targeting Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. We told you earlier this week how the campus went into lockdown when a threat came into the university's Welcome Center. Police swept the campus and found no active danger. They lifted the lockdown several hours later. Yesterday, Daytona Beach police told us about a second threat. Officers went to the campus to check it out, but did not need to go on lockdown. So far, investigators have not shared what exactly that threat was.
The man accused of slashing a 13-year-old's throat is back in court.
Our client has indicated that he's innocent, and that's what we're going to believe. He's innocent.
Prosecutors say he is too dangerous to be released from jail. Coming up, why his defense did not fight that.
If Eccleston Elementary School closes down, then that means that several students will have to walk an even longer distance to school. I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Jarrell Baker, and I spoke with parents about their concerns.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino.
Hey, News 6 Insider. We're at the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex.
Just in time for the Artemis 2 launch.
We are a world-class education attraction here at Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex.
There is so much to do.
Tuition success rate was 0.
From hands-on exhibits to behind-the-scenes bus tours, it's all about getting you as close to the space program as possible without actually strapping you to a rocket.
Should have been an astronaut.
Go to clickorlando.com/insider. Check out the full video now.
Signing up to be an insider is free and easy. Plus, it's the only way you can keep up with our adventures around Central Florida.
And don't forget to nominate your favorite teacher for the New 6 Educator of the Week Award, sponsored by Osborne Francis and Pettis Law Firm.
Now, several parents are wondering how their kids are going to get to school if Eccleston Elementary School shuts down. I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Jarrell Baker. Now, the school is one of several schools that Orange County Public Schools is considering to shut down. That means that if it does, that'll mean a longer walking distance for several students. Eccleston Elementary parents like Alexis Cutter are worried a different path along busier roads through unfamiliar areas could create new risks for children in her neighborhood.
Will they encounter certain things while walking to the school? Is there going to be more of a supervised route?
Eccleston is one of 7 schools the district is considering closing, citing declining enrollment and rising costs. I walked with Cutter and other parents from her home along the route her first grader and her second grader and other children in her area would walk if the school closes. That 30-minute walk right here to Eccleston Elementary School could change to a 50-minute walk if they're rezoned to the nearest school, Washington Shores Elementary. District leaders say that students who live more than 2 miles from their assigned school qualify for bus transportation. But for families who live within that 2-mile radius, there may be no bus option.
The safety, the traffic that's going on throughout the route that the kids have to take. Will they even make it to the school?
The district will review routes to ensure students can safely and reliably attend their schools. The school board is set to vote on the proposed consolidation next month. I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Jarrell Baker.
Time now is 4:17, so time to get a check of our forecast. Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas, we are nearing 90, and then we're going to be in the 30s. So much for you to talk about in the next 3 minutes.
Lots of ups and downs coming our way over the next 72 hours or so. Temperatures tomorrow pushing record territory. Right now, it is warm in and of itself. We're back to the mid-80s. Just a few of those heating of the day clouds out there. We'll lose some of those as the sun goes down tonight. There's a live look with our Light Orlando delivering Hope Skycam this evening. We have air temperatures back to the mid-80s again. It's that breeze out of the south and west. That's the warm one for us as we pump in all that warmth from the south of us. We'll continue to keep the breeze out of the southwest tomorrow and Saturday before we flip that direct wind direction and pump in that colder air that Julie was talking about. 84 in DeLand right now. Good evening in Denellen. We are at 80. Groveland, we're back to 85. St. Cloud, we are at 84 degrees. Now, tomorrow morning, we're going to start things off a little bit warmer than where we were today. Nice, pleasant start to the day. Low to mid 60s across the board. That's running about 10 degrees above where we should be for this time of the year. Now, here's a look at tomorrow.
Your forecast is sponsored by Renewal by Anderson.
That was, of course, the morning. We're getting back into record territory in the high temperature department. 87 degrees in Mount Dora. We're at 87 in Kissimmee. Holopah, we're also at that mark. 81 for us at the Cape on Merritt Island. We're back into the lower 80s as well. We're going to continue to warm things up into Saturday. That's when we have the better day to break records. Saturday, also Orlando City's home opener. We're back to the mid-70s still by 7 o'clock. Really mild evening. Going to be a nice evening. No rain to speak of. Clear skies continue through the rest of the evening. 71 by 9, back to around 70 degrees by 10 o'clock. And then the big changes come. It's still going to be warm on Sunday, but as we get into Saturday afternoon, we're talking air temperatures into the upper 80s. By the time you wake up on Tuesday morning, we're in the mid-30s. Those are the actual air temperatures as that crash comes in behind this cold front that does arrive on Sunday. So here we go. We're going to stop this as we work our way towards the early stages of the afternoon. Just some very, very limited rain chances with this front coming through. Otherwise, as that blasts right on in, we start to see that colder air trickle in for the second half of Sunday. So it will be cold when you wake up on Monday morning, too. Just the colder days of the bunch coming in on Monday. 87 on Friday, 88 degrees on Saturday. Here we go with the changes again coming our way. 40% shot for a few rain showers out there on Sunday. That's whenever the cold front slides in. We're waking up in the 30s and 40s on Monday. We're back in the lower 60s for highs. Then the colder morning of the bunch, it's going to be on Tuesday. Likely going to have a freeze northwest of I-4, mid-30s in and around Orlando, only topping out around 60 on Tuesday. This one is not going to last as long as the last round of cold we just dealt with. We're already back to the low to mid-70s on Wednesday and then pushing 80 degrees by Thursday, guys.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Governor DeSantis has been pushing to get rid of property taxes and taking that decision to voters.
And coming up, Florida lawmakers are pushing the plan forward. What this could mean for you and your neighborhood. Here's a live look over downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Light Orlando.
Three weeks remain in Florida's legislative session, and Florida lawmakers are now moving forward on letting voters decide whether to eliminate property taxes.
This is something the governor has been pushing for. News 6 singer Matt Austin joins us now live in the newsroom with what's going on in Tallahassee, Matt.
Yeah, this is all the talk in Tallahassee right now. A proposal to ask voters in November to eliminate homestead property taxes passed the Florida House today. Meantime, the Senate drafting legislation expected to have less impact on local governments. The bill passed in the Republican-controlled House. It would fully eliminate non-school property taxes starting in 2027. It would require approval by you, 60% of voters. It does seek to prevent local funding cuts for law enforcement and firefighters and other first responders. While cities and counties have raised concerns about potentially reduced funding for services, the Florida House Speaker says that bill will save people money.
This may well be the most aggressive legislation ever passed by a legislative chamber on property taxes in the history of the United States.
there's certainly going to be a tax shift. What will those tax shifts look like? As we know, they're going to go towards non-homesteaded properties. So that means that families living inside of apartment complexes will start paying more. Those who live in townhomes will start paying more.
Now, before the House vote happened today, the governor posted on X saying that he's been working with the Senate on a property tax proposal. We have reported extensively on this particular topic. In fact, I spoke with the Seminole County tax collector. The Republican J.R. Kroll expressed concerns about how local governments are going to pay for vital services if this does, in fact, pass in November. Julie?
Matt, thank you. A woman buys a dog online. Days later, she says that dog died. A News 6 investigation discovered documents that woman was given may be fraudulent.
She said she got this certificate from here, but I called the vet at the bottom, and he says the signature was forged.
News 6 went to the home where the woman said she got the dog to get some answers. Coming up, what happened after we started asking questions.
Windows breaking and houses shaking. Coming up, the likelihood of more intense sonic booms associated with rocket launches has council members in Cape Canaveral thinking about infrastructure resiliency.
Welcome back. We are following several top stories right now.
In Marion County, investigators say they're looking at a home, looking into how a girl died. They say they were called to the home on Northeast 44th Avenue in Citra earlier today. Marion County deputies say they learned a man harmed the girl. They took him into custody for questioning. They are calling the girl's death a homicide. In Seminole County, no bond for a man accused of pointing a gun in a gym. It happened Tuesday at the Crunch Fitness in Altamonte Springs. Winston Medley is facing multiple charges, including attempted first-degree premeditated murder.
Concerns, anger, and questions mounting about the changes coming to downtown Winter Garden. On Tuesday, we told you about the wave of business closures as the buildings are being sold to new owners. Now people are demanding the city take action. The city says it cannot intervene in private real estate transactions. The man accused of a brutal random attack on a 13-year-old boy was back in court today.
Prosecutors want to keep him in jail. Records show police were called about him 3 times before he slashed a teen's throat in Daytona Beach. News 6's Mark Lehman was there when the judge made a decision.
Today's hearing surrounded an incident allegedly involving a sledgehammer that happened the same day as the slashing attack. The state arguing Jermaine Long was too much a danger to the public to be set free, and the defense actually didn't object.
Jermaine Long going before a judge where prosecutors pushed to keep the 44-year-old behind bars in the first of 2 cases involving a violent attack.
You'd be in jail until trial, do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Long not fighting the motion, with his attorney saying jail is what makes sense at this time.
It's our belief that this was in his best interest to stipulate to the state's motion.
Records show Long had 3 run-ins with Daytona Beach police on Saturday. The first, he was trespassed from a location on Hollywood Avenue. 3.5 hours later, Long was accused of chasing and hitting a man with a sledgehammer. Instead of making an arrest, officers trespassed Long again. About 11 hours after that, police got the call Long randomly slashed a 13-year-old boy's throat near the slingshot ride.
Some crazy dude comes from behind me. And he tries to cut my throat.
Sullivan Clark recalling the moment he was attacked, while there are questions about the officer's initial actions.
I just think, gotta get those people off the streets,
Long was also released from jail just 4 days before Saturday's incidents. Both appear to be moving forward with a not guilty plea.
My client has indicated that he's innocent, and that's what we're going to believe. He's innocent.
From here, pretrial for the sledgehammer attack has been set for April, and Long is next due back in court on March 10th for an arraignment on the slashing attack. In Volusia County, Mark Lehman, News 6.
Your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed was the first to report the man had been stopped by officers hours before officers say he attacked the teen. On News 6 at 5, Molly is revealing new details on how police are handling the case.
Troopers are looking for the driver who hit and killed a 29-year-old man and then took off. This happened early this morning on I-95 northbound near State Road 528. Troopers say the 29-year-old was walking on the side of the I-95 when a driver veered off the road and hit him. The man died at the scene, but the driver kept going. Investigators say they do not know why the man was walking on the interstate. Troopers believe the driver was in a red semi-truck and they should have damage on the right side bumper. They're asking anyone with information about this crash to call the Florida Highway Patrol or Crime Line. Troopers are also investigating a crash involving 4 semis on I-75. This happened just after midnight early this morning in the northbound lanes near the County Road 484 exit in Marion County. Troopers say traffic was stop and go for construction in the area. A semi driver did not stop for a stopped semi and hit it in the back. That led to a chain reaction crash with 2 other stopped semis. The driver of the semi that hit the 3 stopped semis is at the hospital with serious injuries. Troopers say the other drivers had minor injuries and did not go to the hospital.
In just a few hours, you can expect to see a rocket blast off from the Space Coast. SpaceX is planning to launch another batch of Starlink internet satellites from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. Right now, liftoff is scheduled for 8:41 this evening. Of course, after the launch, the first stage booster will land on a drone ship in the Atlantic near the Bahamas. Because of that, people on the island may hear 1 or 2 sonic booms during that landing. And even though we're used to seeing launches here, what about the ones that are so loud they damage homes? That's a question council members in Cape Canaveral are discussing right now. News 6's Mike Valenti explains what the city is looking into to protect properties.
To put it simply, with larger rockets comes, well, louder noises.
These launches are coming, and we are looking at how do we prepare our city.
Cape Canaveral looking into state or federal funding for infrastructure resiliency projects due to sonic booms and vibrations so intense they could lead to structural damage.
If we're going to all be good neighbors, we need some help.
It's loud. It's loud. You know, there's a lot of them.
But it's scary because your windows are rattling like crazy.
On the Space Coast, launches are not new, but they can still be jarring for people like Cocoa resident Francis Benner.
If they do nighttime ones, you're hearing the rumbling and it's literally shaking your bed while you're in bed. It wakes you up out of a sound sleep.
And speaking of sleep, a report from the FAA on the impact of Starship said that the chance of sleep disturbance during overnight activities could be as high as 82%. Here at Jetty Park Campground, that figure is at 81%. Starship launches would exceed 90 decibels, a noise level considered likely to interfere with activities. For context, the American Speech Language Hearing Association says a person can damage their hearing if they're listening to a sound at 91 decibels for more than 2 hours.
It's a little scary because I'm not quite sure what's going to happen.
So I've got a decibel reader here on my phone. So just as a point of comparison, we're going to go ahead and honk the horn of our news vehicle. 114. Okay, back to City Council.
We need more data as well. I think we suspect that we're going to sustain, potential vibration damages. And what does that look like for us? And will there be other sources of revenue available in the event that that happens?
In its report last month, the FAA also addressed the probability of sonic booms leading to windows breaking in communities along the Space Coast. Those details on our website, clickorlando.com. I'm News 6's Mike Valenti. Back to you.
Also on clickorlando.com, we posted just how loud the SpaceX Starship launch could get. We compared it to a live rock concert and other launches. Check out our graphic and this story on our website.
Governor Ron DeSantis is renewing a push for a new national amendment. He visited the state of Kentucky yesterday, asking lawmakers to support a balanced budget amendment. This would require the U.S. Congress to balance its budget each year, limiting spending to avoid further growth of the national debt. However, ratifying the amendment to the U.S. Constitution would require support from 38 states.
Florida has obviously certified this. 28 states in total have. We've got a couple more that we think will happen relatively soon. Kentucky hopefully be one of those.
The federal government has been running a deficit since the Clinton administration. While the spending deficit is lower than the same period last year, it is still an issue many Americans are forced to deal with as the total national debt approaches $39 trillion.
King Charles's younger brother, Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, has been released from police custody but does remain under investigation. The former prince was arrested this morning in connection with his ties to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Tina Kraus is outside Buckingham Palace with the latest.
Cameras caught a glimpse of former Prince Andrew leaving the police station Thursday nearly 12 hours after he was arrested at his family's royal estate on suspicion of misconduct in public office in connection to his relationship with the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
I think it was always inevitable that Andrew was going to be questioned by the police, but let's not mistake this. The arrest of a senior is the first time that a senior member of the royal family has been arrested like this.
Investigators are looking into whether Andrew shared confidential government information with the disgraced financier during the royals' time as a British trade envoy. While King Charles stripped Andrew of his titles last year because of the Epstein scandal, Andrew has long denied any wrongdoing. Do you think he should have been arrested?
Yes, I think so. I think there's obviously something really wrong that's happened.
The family of Virginia Giuffre, who died by suicide after accusing the then prince of abuse, called Thursday's arrest a victory.
This is just such a win for Virginia and for all survivors out there, truly.
In a statement, King Charles said the royal family will cooperate with investigators, writing in part, "Let me state clearly, the law must take its course." The former prince was once second in line to the British throne. It's not yet clear how his arrest will affect the royal family going forward.
If evidence was to appear that showed other royals somehow in cahoots with him, then that's a completely different kettle of fish. But at the moment, it's one stinky fish.
The king carried on business as usual, taking a front row seat at a London fashion show just hours after his younger brother's arrest. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
Well, if you feel like your house shakes every time a noisy car drives by, you are not alone.
Coming up, the rules on noise enforcement in quiet neighborhoods and how to report loud drivers.
A woman buys a puppy from a website just days after picking up the dog. She says it died.
I did not get a healthy dog. I got a sick dog.
I'm News 6 investigator Erica Bergoglio. The woman says she was given 2 documents, and I discovered both of them are possibly fraudulent. Coming up, what happened after News 6 started asking questions.
Warm day today. It's going to get even warmer, potentially breaking records both tomorrow and Saturday before a giant crash in the temperature department. We're going to have the full forecast in a few minutes.
And before we head to break, we want to remind you to check out our primetime schedule on News 6 Plus. We have a new take on the day's news on News 6 tonight. That's at 9. Then go in depth as we answer your weather questions at 9:30. Then watch the late news an hour earlier. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus. Download our streaming app for free. Search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Seminole Hard Rock Hotel and Casino.
A woman buys a puppy online. Just days later, she says the dog died. I'm News 6 investigator Erica Bergoglio, and hours after I started asking questions, the website that sold her the puppy abruptly shut down.
She was going to be my family. My family.
Christine Messina
is grieving. Just days after she found a dog on this website called Florida Goldens and brought it home, the puppy suddenly died from a severe intestinal issue.
I did not get a healthy dog. I got a sick dog.
Florida Goldens describes itself as a, quote, marketplace for you to find the golden or golden doodle of your dreams. After texting back and forth with someone she believed was named Sheldon, Messina traveled to this home in Winter Park to pick up her new puppy, Daisy. Messina said she paid $3,000 for the dog, but 4 days later, Daisy was dead.
No response.
At first, Messina said she had trouble reaching the man who sold her the dog. He eventually agreed to give her a refund, Messina claims, but the money never arrived.
They emailed me and claimed that the check got returned.
Like they mailed it and it got sent back to their place? Yeah. Messina says when she first picked up the dog from this Winter Park home, she says she received this veterinary certificate confirming the puppy is healthy. She says she also received this American Kennel Club certificate confirming the puppy's pedigree. But I've discovered both of these documents may be fraudulent. The American Kennel Club says this form is fake.
That's not how our logo looks at all. And that's actually not our executive secretary's signature either.
When I called the veterinarian who supposedly certified the puppy was healthy, I discovered he specializes in horses. It has your name, your phone number on it, your signature. That veterinarian, Dr. Hiram Pamales, tells me he did not fill out this form and that his signature on it is forged. She said she got this certificate from here, but I called the vet at the bottom and he says the signature was forged.
Let me see.
I dropped by the Winter Park home where Messina says she picked up the dog. The man who answered the door refused to identify himself.
So we deliver dogs, so I would put her directly with the breeder that she got her dog from. I don't breed dogs at all.
Just 24 hours after my visit here, the Florida Goldens website had vanished, replaced by this message thanking its supporters. Under Florida law, anyone who sells a cat or dog must provide a health certificate like this one that was allegedly forged. Florida's Department of Agriculture says it is investigating 3 complaints against Florida Goldens. Erica Bergoglio, News 6.
Time now is 4:47. Time to get back to your forecast and meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. And we get the new drought numbers every Thursday. Not looking good for us.
It's not. So I wanted to start with last week's drought monitor first. So this is just to show you the perspective and what has changed. So this is last week, certainly a really nasty one. All the red represents where we have an extreme drought going on. The darker orange is a severe drought. The lighter orange is a moderate drought. The yellow is abnormally dry, not officially reaching the drought status just yet. Watch what happens as we fast forward to this week. You see the extreme drought level, that red color, now sink a little bit further to the south. Much more of the state of Florida is now considered to be an extreme drought. What makes this even worse was, of course, we picked up a good chunk of central Florida, 1 to 2 inches of rain. So while it did help in the short term to kind of quell the wildfire threat that we had going last weekend, certainly things overall not really helped out at all. And in fact, it still got worse even with that 1 to 2 inches of rain. Not everybody saw that, but certainly on a widespread scale. 2.5 inches, just about a little bit more than that in Orlando, below where we should be for this time of the year through the start of 2026. We've now eclipsed the 3 inches below normal in Daytona Beach, about 2 9/10 of an inch below normal in Melbourne, then about 1.5 inches below in Leesburg. So we need the rain. There's not much coming, so unfortunately this is going to continue to, that threat is going to be with us for a long time. 40% shot for some rain coming our way with our next system. That's the one that cools us down on Sunday. It just doesn't provide much, maybe 1/4 of an inch in extreme cases, and I think that is going to be a really extreme case. And as we saw, if 1 to 2 inches really isn't going to do anything, we need that repeated. 1/4 of an inch really isn't going to do anything either. And again, 1/4 of an inch is an extreme case. Here's a live look outside Port Canaveral with the cruise ships leaving. Live look with our Launch Credit Union camera tonight. 82 degrees under a clear sky. The breeze at about 15 miles an hour. It's that warm breeze that really helps to dry things out as well. And with our next freeze potential coming in, at least for half of Central Florida, that's going to dry things out even further. There are the green lines right there. That's the wind direction out ahead of our next system, pumping in all of that warmth. We will continue to feel that way over the next couple of days as we approach record territory both tomorrow and Saturday. We're at 60 in Orlando. Leesburg, we're at 63. Titusville, we're checking in at 62 degrees. We're going to top out tomorrow in the upper 80s, likely a degree or two cooler, relatively speaking, than record territory. So we're in the ballpark, may not get there, but we're going to be very, very close. We're going to see things warm up even further as we get to the weekend. As high pressure works its way back towards our east, that's going to give us another little push of that warmth before temperatures go in the other direction on the other side of the weekend. So there's the 88 on Saturday, Orlando City home opener. It's going to be warm. It's going to be quiet, though. 40% shot for a few showers on Sunday. Again, not much coming with that. There's the change, though, guys. 40s on Monday when you wake up, even colder on Tuesday. Areas northwest of I-4, that's where we're going to flirt with 32 or colder.
Jonathan, thanks. You probably see and hear this in your neighborhood sometimes, loud cars driving by.
It may even cause your house to shake at times. Our traffic safety expert, Trooper Steve, explains what you can do about this. That's next. Plus, we'll show you how downtown Orlando is transforming into a multi-sensory arts hub for the 3-day festival that is taking over. That's next.
The latest Artemis 2 dress rehearsal will wrap up overnight.
Coming up in the morning, the latest test for NASA and what it could mean for the next crewed mission to the moon.
Plus, big weather changes. Candace will have an update on the latest cold front.
Join us for News 6 Morning starting at 6.
This is a good question. Who do I call about loud music
or exhaust happening every early morning. Well, what's early? Because for me, early is early. But I can understand that. You wake up in the morning, the thumping, the music, the exhaust going on. Now, there is, depending on where you live, if you're on a public roadway, then hey, you can contact local law enforcement and kind of let them know the pattern. Maybe something could be done, their traffic unit come out or something like that. But if you live on private property, then you have to contact your HOA to give the local authority the permission to come out and enforce that bumping style kind of music. I understand there are some ordinances out there depending where you are, but when it comes to certain loud music, at the end of the day, it is Florida. So make sure you head over to clickorlando.com and you can check out the rest of that article. If you've got a traffic safety question you want me to answer it, head on over to clickorlando.com/AskTrooperSteve.
All right, taking a live look over downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope cam. The area is starting to transform into a vibrant, multi-sensory arts playground. It's all for the return of the iconic large-scale art celebration called Immerse, and it starts tomorrow and runs through Sunday.
The three-day event includes performances and photo-worthy art installations. Some of the headliners include Blue Man Group and Cirque du Soleil. In between shows, you can check out really cool art installations like Architects of Airs Arborealis. That is right in front of the Dr. Phillips Center. The experience offers a walk-through luminarium filled with color and light. You can also expect to see a 14-foot heart at City Commons Plaza and thousands of LED lights hanging from the Lights and Raindrops installation. We put together a guide for you on everything you need to know. You can find it in this story on clickorlando.com/setting the stage. Always a great event. News 6 at 5 is up next.
Anchor Matt Austin is in the newsroom with what's ahead.
Well, a young woman in Brevard County is recovering tonight after being shot 4 times. Up next, the relationship she had with the suspect that police say is now in custody facing attempted murder charges. And did you know that Central Florida is the shark bite capital of the world? You probably do. Well, we're taking a look at the new numbers published just earlier today. Maybe looking a little better for us than usual. Your forecast is only minutes away. Don't forget, you can stream all of our newscasts and live cameras like this look at Daytona Beach for free anytime on News 6 Plus. We'll be right back.
Shot a total of 4 times. A 21-year-old woman is recovering, and to the relief of her family even more, the police just told me they've caught her boyfriend who was on the run. You'll meet the Good Samaritan who may have saved this woman's life.
And a community on edge after a teen had his throat slashed in Daytona Beach. What officials are doing to ensure safety as the suspect stands before a judge. And Florida remains the shark bite capital of the U.S. But have things gotten better? We take a look at the newly released numbers. You're watching News 6 at 5. We begin at 5 with some breaking news out of Marion County, where the death of a child is under investigation. This happening on Northeast 44th Avenue in Citra. We're told fire rescue found this little one unresponsive around noon, and they got her to a hospital, but they say she did not make it. The Marion County Sheriff's Office says a suspect is in custody and is being questioned now. We're closely following this story. In fact, we have a crew on the way to the scene. Join us for News 6 at 6 for a live report. And you can always go to the app for the quickest updates as well. Let's begin at 5 now with an update to a story News 6 first broke this week. A 13-year-old boy had his neck slashed by a stranger at the Daytona Beach boardwalk. Today, the suspect, this guy here, Jermaine Long, was ordered by a judge to stay in jail ahead of his trial.
News 6 was also first to uncover this was not his first violent act that day. Police had already dealt with Long twice before, letting him go, only for him to be accused of striking again.
Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed has new details on how police are handling this case.
The teen's family is now pushing for officers to take some accountability in this case, too. We first talked to them immediately after the slashing here over the weekend, and again today, too, where they're demanding answers.
I don't understand how all these violent offenses can happen in one day, and he is free to come after our child.
Lori Clark's 13-year-old son was attacked on Saturday while the family walked the boardwalk.
This behavior was not unpredictable.
Daytona Beach police tell us they are conducting an internal review of how this was handled. I asked them Wednesday about it.
It's being looked at.
I first told you Wednesday that I found officers had 3 run-ins with him that day. First, he was trespassed from a property. Then, after being accused of hitting a man with a sledgehammer, police trespassed him again, but didn't arrest him. Finally, they arrested him, charging him with slashing the 13-year-old's throat that night. Charges for the sledgehammer attack came 2 days later. In a statement sent today, police say at the time of the sledgehammer incident, the victim didn't fully cooperate and there wasn't enough evidence to press charges. Their report from that day, though, shows the victim was interviewed and Long was found with the sledgehammer. Police say after looking at it again, they found enough to press charges. Police tell us they will not be releasing any more details now until their review is complete. Jermaine Long is pleading not guilty to any of the acts of violence Saturday. I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
Gunshots fired at a local apartment complex. A woman gets shot 4 times.
Her teenage boyfriend was just booked into jail on attempted murder charges. Your Cocoa community correspondent James Barbero introduces us to the Good Samaritan who may have saved the woman's life.
Shot a total of 4 times. A 21-year-old woman is recovering, and to the relief of her family even more, the police just told me they've caught her boyfriend who was on the run.
She was bleeding profusely.
At the River Park Apartments, Good Samaritan Dwayne Hawkins told me he came to the rescue Wednesday even before paramedics could get here.
I just went in and got some towels and tried to make a tourniquet on her leg and then her chest, and then come to find out she was shot 4 times. But
so Dwayne, did she have anything to say to you? You may have saved her life.
She just said she's been shot, and I just told her to calm down, relax. She was scared, but she was calm though, so we got through it, and she's okay.
At the police station,
he is now presently in our custody.
Lieutenant Brian Stillwell told me authorities just found 19-year-old Guy Potter. Last September, in a shooting with no connection to this one, police said Potter shot through a Rockledge apartment building. That time, no one was hit and all charges were later dropped. This shooting, Lieutenant Stillwell commended Dwayne for being there for his neighbor.
Does look like at this point the victim is going to pull through, and I believe the victim is very lucky in that sense.
And you don't consider yourself a hero?
I mean, no, not really. I don't. I didn't do it for gratitude. I did it because it was a human life. She was my neighbor's daughter.
The police tell me that the victim's boyfriend isn't answering their questions, so they don't have a possible motive yet to the shooting. More could come to light in an arrest report that will be made available later. We'll put any new information on clickorlando.com. In Brevard County, I'm your Cocoa community correspondent James Sparvero, News 6.
All right, taking a live look now at our City of Mount Dora cam, where the dry spell continues across central Florida tonight. Drought conditions will not be helped with no rain in the immediate forecast. Meteorologist Jonathan Kagas has a first look at our forecast for us tonight. Jonathan?
Yeah, and I think the crazy thing, every Thursday we get this new update from NOAA and the United States Department of Agriculture that shows how the drought is progressing or regressing. Well, we got about an inch or two of rain widespread across Central Florida. I know everybody didn't get that, but the drought actually worsened. The extreme drought that was parts of Flagler County into Marion County is now expanded to include the northern half of Volusia County as well. Severe drought, moderate drought, and the different shades of orange that we have there also expanded. So even with the rain that we got Sunday night, and it was oh so nice to get, we actually made things worse. We didn't make things worse by the rain, of course, but the drought continued to progress because we're just that dry. Temperatures back to the upper 80s this weekend. That'll put us in record territory tomorrow. Even hotter on Saturday. We're going to have that part of your forecast, guys, coming up at about 5:17.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. Right now, another critical test for NASA's Artemis 2 as another wet dress rehearsal is underway. The crew says it has to be a success before astronauts are launched around the moon and back. Once again, crews are trying to fill the massive SLS rocket with more than 700,000 gallons of fuel and then do a practice launch countdown. As News 6's Mark Lehman shows us, there is one key problem to resolve.
This dress rehearsal is happening a couple weeks after the first run through for Artemis 2. You can see the rocket on the pad here behind me. The problem with the first run through was liquid hydrogen leaking during the fueling process. It's something NASA needs to overcome today if they want to push forward with a launch in a couple weeks.
It's take two for a critical run-through. NASA is counting down in the second wet dress rehearsal of Artemis 2, and the focus is on preventing leaks in the fueling process.
They want to build confidence that they can actually launch the astronauts when they put them in their seats.
Ken Kramer is with SpaceUpClose.com and shared these images of the 322-foot rocket. He says it's critically important hydrogen doesn't leak past a 16% threshold, which is what halted Artemis 2's first test earlier this month.
They have to be done to prove that the rocket's not leaking. That's the whole problem, because hydrogen is extremely flammable.
Hydrogen is also a difficult substance to deal with.
It's the number one element on the periodic table. It leaks through seals and gaskets very easily. And they're really having to wrestle with that. It's a tough problem.
CBS space consultant Bill Harwood tells us it's an issue NASA has been dealing with for decades and even pushed Artemis 1 to 7 wet dress rehearsals. Much more is on the line for this rocket, however, as 4 astronauts will be on board for the eventual launch on a trip around the moon.
They've replaced those seals, and I think they're hopeful that they're going to get through this test the second time around, clear the way for launch.
If today's test remains on track, fueling of the rocket should happen over the course of several hours today. All of this is counting down towards a 4-hour launch simulation window that opens at 8:30 tonight. And if everything goes as planned, Artemis 2 could launch as early as March 6th. In Brevard County, Mark Lehman, News 6.
Mark, thank you. And speaking of space, coming up in our next half hour, News 6's Mike Valenti heads to the Space Coast, where the community is discussing the potential impacts that more launches could have, everything from damaged homes to the sound of sonic booms. That's coming up at 5:30.
Safety in school zones. That's what Titusville police are focused on. Next Wednesday, police are starting a program to crack down on school zone speeding using speed cameras. It starts with phase 1, where drivers who go 11 miles per hour over the limit will receive a warning. After a 60-day warning period, those drivers will get a ticket. The cameras are active from 30 minutes before school through the day and 30 minutes after. The phases roll out across different schools in the area. The police department says it's taking proactive steps to try to keep kids safe at school. The start of spring means it's almost soccer season, and Orlando fans are getting excited for the start of Orlando City and the Pride.
They are so excited that the Inter & Co Stadium fan section is sold out. The team announcing today that the Wall is completely sold out. The Wall is the name of the fan section. There are also limited tickets available for the rest of the stadium. The New York Red Bulls will be in town this Saturday at 7:30.
Such a cool stadium, too. And with that, we have some amazing news to share with you. News 6 is now your official local station for Orlando City Soccer Club and the Orlando Pride. So what does this mean? This is an exclusive local partnership. It gives News 6 viewers access to full match replays and exclusive team programming on News 6, as well as team stories and coverage on clickorlando.com. Special shows are also going to highlight players, fans, and much for you right here on News 6. It's something we're very excited about. Well, sounding the alarm, neighbors in Winter Garden are pushing for some answers.
And it all centers on small businesses. Next at 5, the public outcry as downtown Winter Garden undergoes changes. Why many people are upset with the direction it's going.
You're watching News 6 at 5. Here's a live look at Port Canaveral from our Launch Credit Union camera. We'll be right back.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Launch Credit Union.
Concern, anger, and questions mounting as neighbors sound the alarm about small businesses being pushed out. On Tuesday, News 6 first reported the wave of closures in Winter Garden.
Your West Orange County community correspondent Tylisa Hampton continues her coverage as people are now demanding the city take action.
How angry does it make you that all this is happening?
I am so upset. I love this area. I think these businesses are incredible.
I'm of the thinking of if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Anger is growing over the uncertainty and change in downtown Winter Garden.
I chose to come to downtown Winter Garden because the city had this vision of small businesses.
In the past year, at least 9 buildings have sold to different buyers. And multiple small businesses like this one and the one next door, Three Birds Cafe, announced that it would have to close after their leases were not renewed. So we spoke to the cafe's owner on Tuesday. She says after our report, it actually sparked a widespread community response. So the report you think has helped?
The report, yeah, for sure, just because it raises awareness too. It raises awareness, and honestly, it also brings up the concern for our small town.
The cafe will close next week, and next door, the owner, Polka Dots, is also preparing to close at the end of June.
You know, I built my business for 19 years here, and just to be devastated.
An event is planned for Friday in support of the small businesses, with people also planning to go to the next city commission meeting.
I mean, the community reaction is completely valid. Winter Garden is such a special area, and it's built off of families and built off of small businesses.
And, people are just really upset, This is ours, our little comfort zone in the world.
We are not available now.
We have reached out to one of the new property owners again, but they have not disclosed their plans, as many wonder what will happen.
It's really sad, to see smaller business owners just have to let go of the things that they worked so hard to build.
You hate to see that. All right, time now to check in with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas. You can see, beautiful day. The warmth is here, Jonathan.
It is, guys. Yeah, and we're taking a very nice look outside right now. Port Canaveral, Brevard County. With our Launch Credit Union camera, we have mainly clear skies right now, and we will continue to watch the warmth build over the next couple of days to near record temperatures. Back to the upper 70s under a mainly sunny sky, about a 10 to 15 mile per hour breeze in the mix. We're at 84 in Sanford, 84 degrees in Oviedo, 85 right now in Orlando, the warmest day of the year. And we will continue to get warmer over the next couple of days. 62 in Mount Dora is where we're going to start tomorrow morning. So the big warmth continues. We're at 63 in Wildwood, back to the lower 60s to start our day tomorrow morning. And that's going to set us up for at least getting in the ballpark to breaking some records across the board. Highs tomorrow going to get into the upper 80s. That'll put us within a degree or two of tying records. I think the more likely day to actually see records be tied or actually fall will be on Saturday. What's going on in Kissimmee? We are nice and warm again tomorrow, hour by hour forecast. We're at 72 by 10, hanging around 80 degrees by lunchtime, 85 by 2. We're pushing the upper 80s. Would not be surprised if we make a run for 90 by the time we get into Saturday. Here's where we stand on Saturday, back to around 90, 88 degrees is the forecast in Orlando. The record is currently 88 degrees, 87 in Sanford, 87 is the record. So that's going to be the day where we are a little bit closer to seeing some of those records fall. And then the temperatures will fall very shortly after that. Cold front comes through on Sunday. You see the green start to light up. That's where we're going to see the opportunity for a few scattered showers. I don't think it's anything too crazy. Certainly nothing like what we saw last Sunday. The rain not going to be anywhere close to that either. Behind that, that's when the colder, drier air will also start to pour back in. And this is where we're really going to have to watch for the brush fire potential to go back up as we get another dry air mass in here. The wind will also kick up as a result. We'll get the temperature trend we go on over the next few days. So again, tomorrow we're in the upper 80s. We're back to the upper 80s on Saturday. Then that cold front comes through. We are going to warm up to the mid 70s on Sunday. And then there goes the tumble. By the time you wake up on Monday morning, we'll be in the lower 40s. There may be a few upper 30s trickling back in by the time we get into Monday morning. The colder morning of the next few is certainly going to be on Tuesday. Average low temperatures in the mid-50s. We're talking mid-30s, maybe even a few of us flirting with the upper 20s. Again, northwest of I-4, that's where the freeze is going to be possible. This is not this cold round of cold, not going to be as intense as the last one that we just had, of course, and it's not going to last as long either. You see a quick warm up out of the deal here. 40% shot on Sunday for a couple of showers, back to the low 60s on Monday, hanging around 60 on Tuesday as well after that very chilly start. But there we go. By Thursday, guys, we're pushing 80 degrees yet again.
All right, Jonathan, thank you. We want to see how you are enjoying the weather. Just open your camera app, scan the QR code on your screen right now, and click that link. You can also go to clickorlando.com/pins and upload your pictures and videos that way. Sharks are not necessarily an uncommon sight in Central Florida.
But sometimes they get a little too close for comfort. Coming up, the yearly encounter numbers are out. So did Florida go up or down? We'll take a look.
Your Thursday evening traffic alert, you're going to watch out for that new lane shift out here along I-4 World Drive. Make sure you're just paying attention. Lanes will be open, but things are much different out here. Whether you're going east or westbound, you need to make sure you're paying attention. Also, up along 528 Goldenrod area, we'll see those lane closures there. Same thing along I-4 between the Turnpike and State Route 528, and then those slowdowns along the southern portions of the Florida Turnpike down in Osceola County. I'm Trooper Steve with your News 6 traffic alert. Drive safely. I'll catch you in the morning.
Here's a live look at downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. You're watching News 6 at 5. We'll be right back. New at 5 o'clock, we now know how many people across the globe were bitten by sharks last year. You know you were wondering. The International Shark Attack File is out with its 2025 report, and what the data is saying about bites here in Florida might surprise you.
The state of Florida once again leading the nation in shark bites. That's according to a newly released report from the International Shark Attack File. It looks at incidents from 2025. Researchers counted 11 bites last year. And while it's more than any other U.S. state, it's lower than the state's most recent 5-year annual average of 18 bites. 6 people were bitten right here in Volusia County last year.
What we see is in areas of murky water. So let's talk about, Volusia County, Ponce Inlet, right? It's really active, murky water.
Yeah.
Those sharks are in the surf zone going for bait fish. And, any kind of movement means that's potentially a meal.
And then all of a sudden, I just feel like something clamp on the foot and just yank me off, almost like a cartoon.
Last year, News 6's Jana Manohalal sat down with 18-year-old Sam Hollis. He was bitten in June while giving surf lessons near Ponce Inlet, which left his foot badly injured.
I've been, surfing at the inlet where that's where most of the bites happen. I've been there before and I've been bumped, I've been grazed, but nothing even comes close to what this felt like.
Globally, ISAF confirmed 65 unprovoked bites, which is slightly higher than average. About a dozen of those bites were fatal, including one in the U.S. Experts say the risk of being bitten by a shark remains extremely low.
If anything, humans have a much more negative impact on sharks than sharks have on us.
You can reduce your risk by always staying with a buddy, staying close to shore, and away from fishermen. And don't wear any shiny jewelry because a shark might mistake you for a fish.
So last year, the U.S. Senate passed Lulu's Law. The bill requires the FCC to issue an emergency alert to mobile phones in the event of a shark attack, similar to an Amber Alert or a weather event. It's named after Lulu Gribben. It's an Alabama teen who lost a large part of her leg and her left hand after being bitten by a shark. Gribben says there was another shark attack 90 minutes before, and if she had been warned, it could have prevented her attack.
The Winter Olympics are close to wrapping up, and it has been a dramatic run for Team USA hockey. It was an exciting finish in the quarterfinal yesterday versus Sweden, and a player with Central Florida ties had a big game. Defensiveman Quinn Hughes was born in Orlando. He had an assist and the game-winning goal in overtime, sending USA to the semifinals. Quinn's dad, Jim, coached the Orlando Solar Bears from 1999 to 2001. His brother, Jack, who was also born in Orlando, is also on Team USA. Team USA will take on Slovakia tomorrow afternoon. The winner will play either Canada or Finland in the gold medal game. A Floridian who is also an Olympian playing hockey.
Crazy.
That is crazy, right?
On the Team USA, that's wild. Much more to come in our next half hour, including making voting easier.
The new facility in Central Florida that is looking to help those as the state looks to make things more restrictive.
Here's a live look at Daytona Beach. You're watching News 6. Keep it here. We'll be right back.
Glad you're with us. I'm Lisa Bell.
I'm Matt Austin. You're watching News 6 at 5. We're following several top stories for you right now. Some breaking news in Marion County. A child's death is under investigation. Fire Rescue says the child was found unresponsive around noon. The sheriff's office says she died at a hospital and a suspect is in custody. We have crews at the scene. We'll have more on News 6 at 6 o'clock.
In Brevard County, a young man is facing attempted murder charges. Investigators say 19-year-old Guy Potter shot his 21-year-old girlfriend 4 times. Police tell News 6's Brevard County community correspondent James Barbero Potter is not answering their questions. We are pressing police for more information, including a motive. We'll bring you those updates as soon as we get them.
In Volusia County, officers say the suspect they believe slashed a teen's throat had 2 other run-ins with law enforcement that day. Jermaine Long is currently in custody. Officers are reviewing why he was let go in 2 other run-ins. Long has pled not guilty to his charges.
Now at 5:30, we are monitoring several brush fires in Central Florida, including this one in Marion County. These photos were provided to us by the U.S. Forest Service. This is Forest Road 22 south of Sellers Lake in the Ocala National Forest. If you're familiar with that area, we're told no buildings are threatened and crews are fighting it from the air and the ground. People are being asked to avoid the road and the lake at this time. And we want to check in now with meteorologist Jonathan Kagas. And Jonathan, it looks like this dryness is here to stay, at least for a while.
It is, yeah. And we certainly got some rain in Marion on Sunday night. Not as much as where the heaviest fell, kind of closer to the I-4 corridor and through parts of Sumter County. Nonetheless, even with the rain that we got on Sunday, the drought expanded and intensified again. We are considered to be in an extreme drought here, that red shaded color. That the new update today put that in through the northern half of Volusia County. So that does include us into Daytona Beach, just on the northern half of New Smyrna, and then extending back towards Marion as well, where we do have that brush fire going on. Keach Byron Drought Index, we show you this every single day because we get daily numbers on that. The drought monitor that I just showed you comes in every Thursday, so today's was brand new there. We're in that 521 number. Again, 500's the perspective when things start to get real dicey and those burn bands come into play. The little number here next to the number, the bigger number is the change from yesterday. So again, after Sunday's rain, we continue to go up, which is something obviously we do not want to do. The deficit for the year so far, area-wide, anywhere from about 2.5 to 3.5 inches below normal. And as Lisa mentioned, there's really not a ton of rain in sight, maybe a little bit on Sunday with our next cold front. We're going to track that for you and talk about how cold we get behind that system coming up at about 5:47, guys.
Jonathan, thank you. Right now, Florida already requires ID to vote, but the state could require even more. But as News 6's Stephanie Rodriguez explains, there is now a local push to ensure people have what they need to exercise their rights for services, including the right to vote.
Soon, this building will be filled with people getting much needed help getting an ID. IDignity helps people who can't do the process alone, and their expansion comes at a time when identification is becoming even more important.
They've done so much with the little resources they have for years and years and years.
Congressman Maxwell Frost secured $750,000 for IDignity's new Orlando headquarters. The nonprofit helps people obtain important documents like Social Security cards and birth certificates for free so they can get an ID.
You can't really do anything without having government certified identification today. You can't get a job, and if you can't get a job, then you can't support yourself, then you can't support your family.
Orange County committed over $2 million to the construction to give IDignity a home after 18 years and 36,000 people served. But demand is expected to increase as the feds consider changes to voting, and state leaders in Tallahassee are advancing several bills to change what ID can be used for elections, putting more emphasis on things like passports.
It makes it so not even your driver's license will be able to be used to be able to register to vote. We shouldn't be making it harder to vote. We should actually be making it easier for Americans to cast their ballot and participate in this democracy.
For those at the center, its mission is even more important in a state where 1 in 5 residents was born outside the U.S. and more than 750,000 residents do not have a driver's license.
We need to maintain the integrity of identification at all costs, but there does need to be an organization like IDignity that will assist those individuals in our community that cannot get over those barriers on their own. That's why we exist.
In Orlando, Stephanie Rodriguez, News 6.
Volusia Sheriff Mike Chitwood says he can no longer support Florida Congressman Randy Fine. The sheriff made the statement on a Facebook post this morning. He says he first met Fine when he helped defend the Jewish community against neo-Nazis and even endorsed him when he ran for Congress. He says, however, quote, over the past several days, I've watched him head down a path I just can't follow. I have to part ways when that fight turns into an attack on our Muslim neighbors. Fine released a statement saying in part, quote, I respect Sheriff Chitwood and everything he's done to keep Volusia County safe. I will always support his work and the job the men and women of the VCSO do day in and day out.
Tonight, a follow-up from a story we first brought you yesterday. We are hearing from Florida's Attorney General James Uthmeier one day after the Miami Herald reported that he was making more than $100,000 teaching at UF Law School. That is 8 times higher than the average law school adjunct earns, and the highest paid adjunct professor at the law school in at least a quarter century. Uthmeier has been teaching at University of Florida's law school on Monday nights since August. He was asked about it during an unrelated press conference this morning. Here's his response.
It's funny, it's the left-wing fake news that seems to be the only people concerned with me working at night as a teacher. Like a lot of Americans at home, I work day and night. It seems like this is what the left news media wants to talk about. I'm focused on fighting crime and public corruption. All right, thanks, everybody.
Again, as we reported yesterday, the school stands by Uthmeier and says that salaries vary. Some volunteer at the school, while others apparently get paid a lot more.
President Donald Trump is giving Iran a timeline to reach a deal ending its nuclear program. It also gives U.S. forces more time to head toward the Middle East. This comes as the president works on peace in Gaza. Erica Brown has more from Capitol Hill.
President Trump is weighing action against Iran if no deal is reached to curb the country's nuclear program.
We may have to take it a step further, or we may not. Maybe we're going to make a deal. You're going to be finding out over the next probably 10 days.
CBS News has learned national security officials have presented the president with military options for strikes against Iran. And the president has ordered a buildup of U.S. forces in the region, including the world's largest aircraft carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford. It comes as Iran is carrying out joint military exercises with Russian forces in the region.
We're either going to get a deal or it's going to be unfortunate for them.
Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna and Republican Congressman Thomas Massie plan to force a vote as soon as next week on a war powers resolution requiring congressional approval before any military action against Iran. President Trump also announced the U.S. will contribute $10 billion to the Board of Peace as he hosted its first meeting in Washington Thursday. The board was created as part of the brokered peace deal between Israel and Hamas.
We have to get this right. There is no plan B for Gaza. Plan B is going back to war. No one here wants that.
The president signed fundraising pledges totaling about $7 billion from member states to help with humanitarian aid and reconstruction in Gaza. Erica Brown, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The rising tensions between the United States and Iran are causing some spikes in the global economy. Today, oil prices jumped to their highest level in nearly 7 months. Crude oil rose 1.6% to $71 a barrel. Gold is also seeing a slight increase. It now sits at $5,000 an ounce. There is a new chief in town, a historic promotion for the city of Apopka's new police chief.
Lavetta Quinn Henry is now the 16th chief of the department, and she's the first ever woman to hold that position. Trooper Steve took a ride with her where she talked about her passion for policing.
Here I was in high school wanting to explore this thing called policing. And so I became a police explorer at the Orlando Police Department. So doing that in high school really gave me that insight and really understanding what Orlando did. And so yes, I later became a police officer, but before fully committing, my dad was a military man, and he certainly was like, I don't know. So I kind of took the least intrusive route and became a corrections officer with Orange County Corrections Division.
So you have an amazing, diverse law enforcement background.
A pretty broad spectrum.
This is great.
And then after that, that's when I knew. 1999, I applied for the Orlando Police Department, was selected, and career took off 25 years later.
The chief opens up about her past and how she got into policing. You can catch her entire interview by visiting this story on clickorlando.com. You can catch Trooper Steve on patrol weekdays at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. on the News 6 Plus streaming app for your smart TV or clickorlando.com. We've been telling you for weeks, Orange County is planning to close multiple schools.
But what about the families who are impacted by that? Next at 5:30, we speak with a mom who says something as simple as getting her kids to school will now be a bigger struggle.
Warm today, even warmer tomorrow, potentially breaking records on Saturday, and then we fall off a cliff in the temperature department again. We're going to pinpoint how cold we get as we get into the early part of next work week, coming up in a few minutes.
And no one injured in a shocking crash in Lee County. The dramatic video showing the moments a Jaguar slams into a back of a school bus. Are you looking for a different take on the day's top stories? Try out the all-new primetime schedule on News 6 Plus. News 6 tonight starts at 9. Then meteorologist Jonathan Kagas breaks down your forecast and weather questions at 9:30. Then you can watch the late news an hour early at 10. It's all tonight on News 6 Plus.
You can download our streaming app for free. Just search WKMG in your smart TV's app store. It's also available on Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Shark Coatings.
Some scary moments during pickup at a South Florida school. Video shows the moment a man in a Jaguar rammed the back of a Lee County school bus. Somehow, I don't know how, but the driver of this Jag survived. 3 kids were just a few feet away from the stopped bus. This is video of the bus being lifted and pulled off of that car.
Drinking my coffee, I heard a spoon, and it was very loud. We saw the children walking to the bus 15 minutes prior to this happening.
Somehow both drivers have just minor injuries. Don't understand this one. The traffic backup lasted for 2 hours. The driver of the Jag was later arrested and charged with reckless driving.
Lives disrupted for Central Florida families who moved near a school for their kids. The planned closures of multiple schools in Orange County is turning their lives upside down. Your Orange County community correspondent Jarrell Baker walked the path to school with parents.
Eccleston Elementary parents like Alexis Cutter are worried a different path along busier roads through unfamiliar areas could create new risk for children in her neighborhood.
Will they encounter certain things while walking to the school? Is there going to be more of a supervised route?
Eccleston is one of 7 schools the district is considering closing, citing declining enrollment and rising costs. I walked with Cutter and other parents from her home along the route her first grader and her second grader and other children in her area would walk if the school closes. That 30-minute walk right here to Eccleston Elementary School could change to a 50-minute walk if they're rezoned to the nearest school, Washington Shores Elementary. District leaders say that students who live more than 2 miles from their assigned school qualify for bus transportation. But for families who live within that 2-mile radius, there may be no bus option.
The safety, the traffic that's going on throughout the route that the kids have to take. Will they even make it to the school?
The district will review routes to ensure students can safely and reliably attend their schools. The school board is set to vote on the proposed consolidation next month. I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Jarrell Baker.
All right, we want to check in now with meteorologist Jonathan Kakis. At least if you have to walk a long distance to school on a day like today, it's nice
Not
out
too
there,
bad.
right?
Right.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
We got to look at the bright side. I know we do need the rain, but
We need it bad.
It is pleasant outside.
It is very pleasant. Yeah, it's getting real nasty out there in terms of the drought situation, though. Here's a live look. Downtown Orlando with our Light Orlando delivering Hope Skycam. We have air temperatures back to the mid-80s. The breeze out of the south-southwest at about 10 miles an hour. It's pumping in all of that warmth in from the south. We're at 81 in Titusville, 76 in Cocoa Beach. Really nice. In Daytona, we're at 82, 78 degrees for us in Denellen. Tomorrow morning, a warmer start. We're back to the lower 60s in the Villages, 60 in Palm Coast. Cocoa Beach, we are at 64, so a nice warm start to the morning. Now here's a look at your afternoon.
Your forecast is sponsored by Advent Health.
Air temperatures climbing back into the upper 80s. That'll put us in the ballpark of record territory, likely missing records by a degree or two tomorrow afternoon. That'll put us at 87 in Leesburg. Holopah, we're at 87, 81 degrees in Cocoa Beach. Again, rain chances non-existent tomorrow. The next shot of rain really comes on Sunday, and it's not going to be a ton. We're dry for the home opener, Orlando City, kicking things off, 76 degrees by 7 o'clock. The game getting underway, a match getting underway at 7:30, 73 degrees by 8. We're in the lower 70s by 9. Leaving the game, we're still hanging around 70. So skies will be clear to walk to the stadium. It will be mild, but that is not going to last. So Sunday is going to be the transition day. But before we get there, high temperatures on Saturday afternoon, again, in record territory, back to the upper 80s. We'll fall into the mid-30s. Those are actual air temperatures on Tuesday morning. And some of us northwest of I-4 going to be flirting with the freezing mark again. It's all because of this front that's blasting through here. This is going to be early in the day on Sunday. You see the green coming through. That's going to be for the first half of the day. That's at least our shot at rain. It's nothing too crazy. I think quarter of an inch max, and that is an extreme case. I think most of us are a tenth of an inch or less. There's 10 o'clock on your Sunday night. You see the arrows now pumping that colder air right down central, right down through the Florida Peninsula into Central Florida. So here's the wild ride that we go on. We're at 87 again tomorrow, 88 degrees on Saturday, 40% shot for rain on Sunday. I think most of us are going to keep things under about a quarter of an inch of rain in terms of what we'll see in the rain gauge. Air temperatures will be at 79, and then we're going to watch those temperatures fall gradually throughout the course of the afternoon. 61 is going to be your high on Monday. That is after a start in the 40s. And then Tuesday is the opportunity for another freeze, mainly northwest of I-4. It is not going to be as long-lived by any means. We're not talking about any kind of pipe issues or anything like that, but you'll have to cover your plants again if the last freeze didn't kill them. And judging by what I've seen across the area, that freeze pretty much killed everything, guys. We're back to around 80 degrees on Thursday.
My stuff's dead.
Yeah,
sure.
long gone.
All right, well, from sonic booms to fuel being left outside, the community in Brevard County is worried about the potential of more launches.
Up next, we caught up with residents in Cape Canaveral with the uncertainty they are feeling.
A woman buys a puppy from a website just days after picking up the dog. She says it died.
I did not get a healthy dog. I got a sick dog.
I'm News 6 investigator Erica Bergoglio. The woman says she was given 2 documents, and I discovered both of them are possibly fraudulent. Coming up, what happened after News 6 started asking questions.
The latest Artemis 2 dress rehearsal will wrap up overnight.
Coming up in the morning, the latest test for NASA and what it could mean for the next crewed mission to the moon.
Plus, big weather changes. Candace will have an update on the latest cold front.
Join us for News 6 Morning starting at 6.
This is a live look at Daytona Beach as that sun begins to set. That's a pretty gorgeous shot out there. You're watching News 6 at 5. We'll be right back.
To put it simply, with larger rockets comes, well, louder noises.
These launches are coming, and we are looking at how do we prepare our city.
Cape Canaveral looking into state or federal funding for infrastructure resiliency projects due to sonic booms and vibrations so intense they could lead to structural damage.
If we're going to all be good neighbors, we need some help.
It's loud. It's loud. You know, there's a lot of them.
But it's scary because your windows are rattling like crazy.
On the Space Coast, launches are not new, but they can still be jarring for people like Cocoa resident Francis Benner.
And if they do nighttime ones, you're hearing the rumbling and it's literally shaking your bed while you're in bed. It wakes you up out of a sound sleep.
And speaking of sleep, a report from the FAA on the impact of Starship
said that the chance of sleep disturbance during overnight activities could be as high as 82%. Here at Jetty Park Campground, that figure is at 81%.
Starship launches would exceed 90 decibels, a noise level considered likely to interfere with activities.
For context, the American Speech Language Hearing Association says a person can damage their hearing if they're listening to a sound at 91 decibels for more than 2 hours.
It's a little scary because I'm not quite sure what's going to happen.
So I've got a decibel reader here on my phone. So just as a point of comparison, we're going to go ahead and honk the horn of our news vehicle. 114. Okay, back to City Council.
We need more data as well. I think we suspect that we're going to sustain, potential vibration damages. And what does that look like for us? And will there be other sources of revenue available in the event that that happens?
In its report last month, the FAA also addressed the probability of sonic booms leading to windows breaking in communities along the Space Coast. Those details on our website, clickorlando.com. I'm News 6's Mike Valenti. Back to you.
Well, have you wondered what is a sonic boom? Our web team at News 6 has made a comprehensive guide for you. Just visit this article on clickorlando.com. There you can find everything related to space, including watching those launches from the Space Coast live. A recall alert tonight. Health experts are warning some raw oysters served in the state could make you ill. The FDA is warning restaurants and seafood markets, including here in Florida, not to sell certain oysters linked to the norovirus. The raw oysters come from Stellar Bay shellfish in Canada and include the Cushy, Chrome Point, Stellar Bay, and Stellar Bay Gold brands. They were harvested in British Columbia between December 22nd and February 4th, then shipped to at least 10 states. Coming up next on News 6 at 6, we are following breaking news for you in Marion County.
Our team is on the way. We're going to provide updates on a child being found unresponsive in Citra, plus an investigation now underway. What we know is being done after police say a man attacked a teen at Daytona Beach just hours after being confronted by officers for something else.
Well, several small businesses are closing in Winter Garden. Coming up, I spoke with those owners and people who live in this community as they say they want their voices to be heard.
Here's a live look at downtown Orlando from our Light Orlando Delivering Hope camera. You're watching News 6. We'll be right back.
streaming on clickorlando.com and broadcasting live. You're watching News 6 at 6.
We're following some breaking news for you tonight. It's an active death investigation underway in Marion County right now. Investigators say a child has died in this case. Detectives say they have the man in custody who witnesses say harmed this child. So we want to get you right out to Citra, where News 6's Troy Campbell just got outside the home on Northeast 44th in Citra. So Troy, what do you see out there right now?
Yeah, Matt. So right now we just got up to the front of the residence. We got as close as we can get down a dirt road. Right now behind us, you can see there's several law enforcement vehicles. There's also crime tape still surrounding this trailer here. Now, we are told that investigators were speaking to witnesses from inside this trailer as they investigate this child's death. So right now, the Marion County Sheriff's Office, they're being very tight-lipped, but they do say their deputies were called here to this home along Northeast 44th Street in Citra around noon. They say once their deputies arrived, they discovered that Marion Fire Rescue had already transported a young girl to the hospital where she was pronounced dead. Now, deputies on scene say people inside the home quickly identified a man who was still on scene as the one responsible for injuring the child. The sheriff's office is not saying what the relationship between the girl and the man in custody is. They're also not releasing the age of the child, saying they are still working on notifying all of the family members. However, again, they say they believe they have the man responsible for the child's death.
With every single victim we have, no matter the crime, we are always passionate and diligent about seeking justice. With that being said, it is, in some cases, extra heartbreaking whenever it's a young child who is innocent, a victim of a heinous crime, and, completely helpless.
And back here live, you can see that this is still a very active scene, some 6 hours after investigators were first called to this home. And again, the man that they do have in custody that they are questioning as a suspect, they say it's just that he's being questioned. He hasn't officially been booked on any charges related to the child's death. However, of course, we'll continue to keep you updated. Live in Citra, Troy Campbell, News 6. Back to you.
These stories are just heartbreaking, Troy. Thank you. Well, it might be Thursday, but folks are already getting ready for that weekend, and it's looking like a hot one. We could even set a record out there, but with the heat, the drier weather, could make a risk for wildfires even worse for us. And this is something we saw last weekend in Central Florida. New drought numbers just came out, and the record highs are coming for us. Let's check in with meteorologist Jonathan Kegas, who's breaking down both of these weather stories for us.
Certainly the warmth not going to help, and then the reinforcing shot of drier, colder air is just going to make things that much worse again as we get into the early stages of next week. And that's the one I'm worried about, really, when we crank up the wind behind the cold front on Sunday with how dry it is. So look at this. Most of Central Florida picked up at least a half-inch of rain last Sunday night. The bulk of us picked up close to 2 inches of rain in some places, especially closer to I-4, I-75. The drought significantly increased, at least from this drought standing right here from the United States Department of Agriculture. Extreme drought now from the villages back towards Astor into Lake Catherine, towards Daytona Beach, and into Ormond Beach as well, Denellen, Marion County, the entire county for us. We're included in that. The severe drought also included, and are also increased. And we are going to watch things continue to get hotter now over the next couple of days. We're back to the upper 80s on Friday. We're in the ballpark of records, likely going to miss them by a degree or two. I think Saturday is going to be the higher potential to break or tie records as we move into Saturday. That front, as mentioned, comes through on Sunday. A little bit of rain, certainly not as much as what we had last Sunday. And then we turn things really cold again. If you put the jackets away, go find them again. Wait till you see this on the 7-day forecast. We're dipping into the 30s. We'll have that part of the forecast coming up at about 6:17, Matt.
Jonathan, thank you. Well, it's a story News 6 broke first this week. A 13-year-old boy slashed in an attack at the Daytona Beach boardwalk. Now, today, the suspect in this case, Jermaine Long, was ordered by a judge to stay in jail ahead of his trial. News 6 also was the first to uncover this wasn't his first violent attack just that day. Police had already dealt with him twice before, letting him go, only for him to be accused of striking again. Your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed has some new details tonight on how police are handling this case.
The teen's family is now pushing for officers to take some accountability in this case, too. We first talked to them immediately after the slashing here over the weekend, and again today, too, where they're demanding answers.
I don't understand how
all these violent offenses can happen in one day, and he is free to come after our child.
Lori Clark's 13-year-old son was attacked on Saturday while the family walked the boardwalk.
This behavior was not unpredictable.
Daytona Beach police tell us they are conducting an internal review of how this was handled. I started pushing for answers Wednesday after finding out the suspect, Jermaine Long, had been accused of a previous attack that day, but wasn't arrested.
It's being looked at.
That's also when I first told you I found officers actually had 3 run-ins with Long Saturday. First, he was trespassed from a property. Then, after being accused of hitting a man with a sledgehammer, police trespassed him again, but didn't arrest him. Finally, they arrested him, charging him with slashing the 13-year-old's throat that night. Charges for the sledgehammer attack came 2 days later. Police are now responding. In a statement sent today, police say at the time of the sledgehammer incident, the victim didn't fully cooperate and there wasn't enough evidence to press charges. Their report from that day, though, shows the victim was interviewed and Long was found with a sledgehammer. Police say after looking at it again, they found enough to press charges. Police tell us they will not be releasing any more details now until their review is complete. Jermaine Long is pleading not guilty to any of the acts of violence Saturday. I'm your Volusia County community correspondent Molly Reed, News 6.
In Brevard County, police say a young woman was shot 4 times by her boyfriend. Today, Cocoa police caught up with 19-year-old Guy Potter. Police say Potter was wanted for the attempted murder of his 21-year-old girlfriend at the River Park Apartments. Your Cocoa community correspondent, James Sparvero, met a good Samaritan at the apartments who may have saved that young woman's life.
I just went in and got some towels and, tried to make a tourniquet on her leg and then her chest. And then come to find out she was shot 4 times, but...
So, Dwayne, did she have anything to say to you? You may have saved her life.
She just said she's been shot, and I just told her to calm down, relax. She was scared, but she was calm, though, so we got through it, and she's okay.
Police are telling us Potter isn't answering their questions, so they're not sure what his possible motive could have been for shooting his girlfriend. Developing tonight, NASA's new administrator slams Boeing and NASA for stranding astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams in space. This comes after NASA revealed the results of a months-long investigation into the latest failed Starliner capsule test flight to the space station. Boeing makes the Starliner capsule. You'll remember this mission was in 2024. It left the 2 astronauts in space for months. They were only supposed to be there for a couple weeks. NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman says he sent letters to the NASA workforce and criticizes NASA's decision-making and leadership. Federal investigators also blame NASA and Boeing, noting bad data and incomplete data from the first 2 Starliner flight tests, and blame NASA for accepting the data.
I do think that failure to acknowledge this as it was, which is a type A mishap, and ensure that we are transparent and correct, management leadership missteps that could lead to an unhealthy culture is absolutely warranted. Failing to do so invites repeats of previous catastrophic events, which again is never an acceptable outcome here at NASA.
The NASA investigative report gives 61 formal recommendations. All of these must be implemented before the Starliner can fly again to the space station. Administrator Isaacman agreed. We put the full 311-page report on clickorlando.com. Now we're following up for a story that we brought you earlier this week. Concern, anger, and questions mounting as neighbors sound the alarm about small businesses being pushed out. On Tuesday, News 6 first reported the wave of closures in Winter Garden. Your West Orange County community correspondent Tylisa Hampton continues her coverage as people are now demanding the city take action.
Right now, there is a call for action, that coming from people who live in Winter Garden. As they say, they actually come to this downtown area for these small businesses, never expecting that one by one, so many would have to close up shop.
How angry does it make you that all this is happening?
I am so upset. I love this area. I think these businesses are incredible.
I'm of the thinking of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Anger is growing over the uncertainty and change in downtown Winter Garden.
I chose to come to downtown Winter Garden because the city had this vision of small businesses.
And the past year, at least 9 buildings have sold to different buyers. And multiple small businesses like this one and the one next door, Three Birds Cafe, announced that it would have to close after their leases were not renewed. So we spoke to the cafe's owner on Tuesday. She says after our report, it actually sparked a widespread community response.
So the report you think has helped?
The report, yeah, for sure, just because it raises awareness too. It raises awareness, and honestly, it also brings up the concern for our small town.
The cafe will close next week, and next door, the owner, Polka Dots, is also preparing to close at the end of June.
You know, I built my business for 19 years here, and just to be devastated.
An event is planned for Friday in support of the small businesses, with people also planning to go to the next city commission meeting.
I mean, the community reaction is completely valid. Winter Garden is such a special area, and it's built off of families and built off of small businesses.
And, you know, people are just really upset, you know. This is ours, our little comfort zone in the world.
We are not available now.
We have reached out to one of the new property owners again, but they have not disclosed their plans, as many wonder what will happen.
It's really sad, you know, to see smaller business owners just have to let go of the things that they worked so hard to build.
And we also reached back out to the city for those people concerned about the possibility of the businesses that could be brought in. However, they gave us the same statement from Tuesday, noting they cannot intervene in private real estate transactions. Reporting for News 6, I'm Talisa Hampton.
Winter Garden is incredibly charming. Well, coming up on News 6 at 6, a heartbreaking story as a woman's dog dies just days after she bought it online. A News 6 investigation uncovers documents she was given may be fraudulent.
It has your name, your phone number on it, your signature.
Coming up, what happened after News 6 started asking questions.
Good evening. Ahead on the CBS Evening News, we'll be taking you to the United Kingdom, where we are learning more and more about today's arrest of former Prince Andrew, the remarkable fall from grace, and more coming up on the CBS Evening News.
This portion of the news is sponsored by Advent Health.
A woman buys a puppy online. Just days later, she says the dog died. I'm News 6 investigator Erica Bergoglio, and hours after I started asking questions, the website that sold her the puppy abruptly shut down.
She was going to be my family. My family.
Christine Messina is grieving. Just days after she found a dog on this website called Florida Goldens and brought it home, the puppy suddenly died from a severe intestinal issue.
I did not get a healthy dog. I got a sick dog.
Florida Goldens describes itself as a, quote, marketplace for you to find the golden or golden doodle of your dreams. After texting back and forth with someone she believed was named Sheldon, Messina traveled to this home in Winter Park to pick up her new puppy, Daisy. Messina said she paid $3,000 for the dog, but 4 days later, Daisy was dead.
No response.
At first, Messina said she had trouble reaching the man who sold her the dog. He eventually agreed to give her a refund, Messina claims, but the money never arrived.
They emailed me and claimed that the check got returned.
Like they mailed it and it got sent back to their place?
Yeah.
Messina says when she first picked up the dog from this Winter Park home, she says she received this veterinary certificate confirming the puppy is healthy. She says she also received this American Kennel Club certificate confirming the puppy's pedigree. But I've discovered both of these documents may be fraudulent. The American Kennel Club says this form is fake.
That's not how our logo looks at all. And that's actually not our executive secretary's signature either.
When I called the veterinarian who supposedly certified the puppy was healthy, I discovered he specializes in horses.
It has your name, your phone number on it, your signature.
That veterinarian, Dr. Hiram Pamales, tells me he did not fill out this form and that his signature on it is forged.
She said she got this certificate from here, but I called the vet at the bottom and he says the signature was forged.
Let me see.
I dropped by the Winter Park home where Messina says she picked up the dog. The man who answered the door refused to identify himself.
So we deliver dogs. So I would put her directly with the breeder that she got her dog from. I don't breed dogs at all.
Just 24 hours after my visit here, the Florida Goldens website had vanished, replaced by this message thanking its supporters.
Under Florida law, anyone who sells a cat or dog must provide a health certificate like this one that was allegedly forged. Florida's Department of Agriculture says it is investigating 3 complaints against Florida Goldens. Erica Bergoglio, News 6.
Time now to get a check of your weather forecast. We're inching closer to this weekend right now, and it is going to be dry and it's going to be hot.
It is. We can make a legitimate push for 90 degrees. I think most of us will stay underneath that benchmark, but that puts us in record territory. Gorgeous shot out here right now. Live look as the sun is going down Port Canaveral, Brevard County with our Launch Credit Union camera. We have temperatures in the mid-70s. The breeze at about 10 to 15 miles an hour right now out of the south and west, pumping in all of this warmth. Wildwood, good evening. We are at 77. We're back to the upper 70s in Nobleton. Denellen, we're at 77. Apopka, we are at 81 degrees. Mount Dora, we're at 80. DeLand, we're checking in at 82 right now. Tomorrow, it's going to be a few degrees warmer than what we started the day today. We were right around 60. Tomorrow, we're going to be in the lower 60s. Sanford will be at 64. Palm Coast at 60. Now here's a look at your Friday afternoon.
Your forecast is sponsored by Strata Services.
Temperatures tomorrow start to inch closer to record territory. It's in the upper 80s. We'll likely miss records tomorrow by about a degree or two. Close, though, Mount Dora, 87. Daytona Beach, we're at 84. Mims into Titusville, good evening. We're back to the mid-80s. Rain chances non-existent. Same for us in Kissimmee and St. Cloud tomorrow. Hope you're doing well tonight. We're back to around 80 degrees by lunchtime. Lots of sunshine tomorrow after we burn off some fog, and it will be thick in spots again tomorrow morning. 85 by 2. We're back to the upper 80s by 4 o'clock under a mainly sunny sky. Now we're going to fast forward to Saturday. This is going to be the warmest day of the bunch. We're back to the upper 80s, and you see right now that ties a record. 88 back in 1989. Sanford, we're forecasting 87. That is a record, and we are close, Daytona Beach and Leesburg, to getting into that ballpark as well. So would not be surprised if we do have a couple of records fall again on Saturday. Out ahead of this is our cold front that changes everything again. You see the green popping up on your screen. Few scattered downpours going to be possible. I think all in all, on a widespread scale, most of us stay below 1/10 of an inch of rain. In extreme cases, maybe 1/4 of an inch. Certainly nothing like what we saw late last Sunday night. There's the front by Sunday at 10. You see the arrows have turned blue and they're out of the north and west. That is what pumps the chill back down the Florida peninsula. Look at this wild ride we're going on. Tomorrow, we're back to the upper 80s. Saturday, getting into the upper 80s as well. And you see the little bit of a tumble. We will rebound back to the mid-70s as the front is coming through. And then the real crash happens. This is what we wake up to on Friday, or on Monday, I should say. Most of us are going to be into the lower 40s. A few may sneak into the upper 30s again as that coldest air that we've seen since the last time around, getting back into the mid-30s when we wake up on Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning should be the coldest of the bunch. Temperatures over the next few days, again, really nice and warm. We're back to the upper 80s on Saturday, 79 on Sunday. Rain chances up to 40%, right around 61 for a high on Monday after that really cold start Monday morning and Tuesday morning, hanging in the 60s Tuesday afternoon as well.
Jonathan, thank you. Well, it is fight night in Central Florida. Let's join Sports Director Jamie Say now in Altamonte Springs. Jamie.
Hey, Matt. Yeah, a special night of boxing here at the Hilton in Altamonte Springs to support survivors of domestic violence. It's starting to jump in here, too. Coming up, I talked to the Hall of Famer, the world champion, and Apopka resident behind this special event. Stay with us. Welcome back to News 6. Jamie Say with you live at the Hilton in Altamonte Springs for a special night of boxing here. It is Champions Against Domestic Violence, an event that will support survivors of domestic violence, and it is brought to you by Hall of Famer, world champion, Apopka resident Christy Martin, who joins me now. Christy, The atmosphere is jumping. We're just a few minutes away from fights.
We're getting there. You know, I'll be glad when 7 o'clock rolls around, that first bell rings, and then it's fight night. So up until then, we got a lot of work to do.
All right, talk to me about the fights that are coming up tonight.
The fights are great. They're all evenly matched. Tony Aguilar is the main event. We have Devin Parrish. We have Keemon Evans. We have Kevin Nunes, who is a big star right here in Orlando. This is going to be a very exciting night of boxing.
And this benefits and it amplifies two really special charities here in Central Florida. Can you talk about that?
So we're here to support the Safe House of Seminole County. They have a wonderful program up there that they do everything that you can think of for survivors. They house them, they feed them, they help them get back on their feet with jobs, child care, everything, anything they can do to help you get back out there on your feet, they do it. We're also working with the Animal Safe House Project of Brevard County, which finds foster homes for your pets if a family's going into a domestic violence shelter that doesn't allow pets to come.
How meaningful is this night for you?
It's awesome. I mean, it means way more than boxing. The truth is the fight's so second tier for tonight. It's all about people taking, just if it's 1 minute.
Yes.
To think about and understand domestic violence.
Is this going to be an annual event maybe?
I'm hoping so. It's a good build, and everyone here at the Hilton and Altamonte Springs has been awesome to work with. Like I said, the organizations, the Safe House of Seminole, the Animal Safe House Project, and then we've had Truist Wealth. We have some great sponsors, and just excited to make this tonight happen.
Christy, have a great night. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to have the highlights of tonight's fights tonight at 11 on News 6. Live in Altamonte Springs, I'm Jamie Say, News 6. Matt, back to you.
All right, great looking setup out there, Jamie. I hope they raise a ton of money for a good cause. All right, meteorologist Jonathan Kagas, before we let them go, tell me a little bit about how warm we're going to get heading into Friday.
Oh, it's pool weather. The beach might be a little cold. The water temperature
is
still in the 50s. We need to do some work on that one. But upper 80s. Records potentially fall in tomorrow and especially on Saturday. The 30s are coming by on Tuesday.
Crazy. All right, more news coming up at 9 o'clock on clickorlando.com. Have yourself a great Thursday night.
Cool.
We go 5, 4, 3, 2.
Temperatures get even warmer for your Friday. We are jumping into record territory. The better shot to break those records come on Saturday. We're talking about how warm it gets at 11. Yeah.
All right. Stand by. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Thick fog rolls in for your Friday morning commute. We are pinpointing who sees it the worst tonight.